than any police department, agency, sponsor, or employer. Two Cops, One Donut isn't responsible for anything said by guests or for any videos, clips, or content shown during the live stream. This show is intended for adult audiences only. We cover real incidents, we show graphic and sometimes disturbing footage, and we don't shy away from strong language or adult conversations. There may or may not also be alcohol involved. Viewer discretion is strongly advised. Everything you hear or see on the show is for entertainment and educational purposes. It is not legal advice, and it's not tactical instruction, and it shouldn't be used for such. By continuing to watch, you're telling us that you understand, you accept all of this. All right, now let's get into it. All right, welcome back. Two Cops, One Donut. I'm your host, Erik Lavigne. Today, special guest I got with me is Lady Law Shield, Bridgette. How you doing?
I'm good, Erik. How are you? It's been a while since I was on your podcast. I think I was one of the first guests in the new studio.
You were, absolutely. Yeah, it's been a minute.
You didn't have all that fancy lighting behind you at the time.
I know. It's gotten way better since the last time you were here. I promise.
Well, I'm just going to, I'll keep knocking on your door when I come to Fort Worth and we'll figure it out.
No problem. Come on over.
You're a busy man, though.
It is incredibly busy. It's kind of funny how, let me scoot over here. Funny how busy it does get. I've got, man, this is one of the funny things about doing this show. I got people that my guests request. So those are the people that I'm actively trying to hunt all the time, trying to get these people that people actually, really keep begging me, bugging me, whatever you want to say, to hear. And I'm like, all right, let me see what I can do for people. Then I got people I want to hear from, you included. That's why I was like super excited to get you on. And then there's those that reach out and want to be on the show that I don't know. Nobody's ever requested. And that's happening more and more frequently. And there was a guy recently. He's one of those sovereign citizen. I did a little research on him once he reached out. I'm like, I don't know who the fuck this guy is. So started looking around, and he's like, such and such will vouch for me. And I'm not gonna put anybody's name out there, but so I reached out to that person. They did not vouch for them.
No.
So I was like, yeah, all right, bro. Sorry. I was like, I wanted to see how he would take the no. I was like, hey, bro, sorry. I just, at this time, I don't have anybody requesting the kind of topics that you're talking about. I was like, for right now, it's a no. I was like, we'll see as it goes. And, but he was like sweating me, like wanting an answer. Like, I'm like, I got hundreds of messages a day, and it's just a pain in the ass. Like, I can't check all my messages, but I do a damn good job. Anybody that follows us, and I almost nobody slips through the cracks. I usually get to just about everybody.
Well, I'd say like you and I keep in touch fairly often. And I mean, I know you're busy and I know you're working full time and this is not your full gig. And I know like even if you and I might text and it might take a bit, but like I know you're busy, but I know you're busy. Like it's a lot.
So I kind of wanted to see how he would respond to being told no. And I was like, I was like the you putting pressure on this isn't helping you. I was like, I don't know you. And he got pissed and like it kind of failed the little test that I gave him. I was like, see, if I can't even trust you on just chatting privately, I definitely can't trust you on a live because I'm still, everybody in the audience that follows us, I'm still an active cop, y'all. If something bad happens on a live, I could be fired. Now, if it doesn't come out of my own mouth, there's probably going to be some leniency, but I don't take the risk with people I don't know.
Yeah, I would say that as your lawyer, I would certainly be cautious of that. And I hope you never need me in that perspective. But I agree. I mean, especially as an active cop. And even though you don't, and I commend you on your legal warning, your red box warning as you open
I like that. I saw you smiling.
As your lawyer, I approve that you do have to be careful. And I mean, I live in Houston, and right now there's a girl that's getting in a lot of trouble for something she posted on social media, even not in uniform, did not identify her agency, but people figured it out. And she, not only is she's about maybe possibly losing her career, they're now about to look at every arrest she's ever had.
Oh, see? And so that, I guess that kind of goes into a good conversation topic just to get started. But this is what I try to convey to people that will kind of give me some pushback and some shit on some of the social media stuff. And they're like, oh, you said that with padded gloves on, or you're being, a pussy. Why don't you say what you really feel? And I'm like, listen, there are some things I can show emotion. I can say semi unprofessionally, but I can't truly say what I feel on some of this stuff because I still got a job. I'm still an active cop is what makes this platform so rare. You don't get active cops that do this.
No.
So
at least not active cops who aren't doing it for their agency. I mean, I'm aware there's one for Dallas, there's one for Houston, there's one I know for Oklahoma, there's some in California. Like I know there's a lot of active cop versions, and then you're vetting it through your higher ups, and even if not, you should be very careful. But you are an anomaly in that way.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot to do it. Like my buddy Matt Thornton, he's Detective Matt Thornton is his social media presence, but he's an active cop up in Illinois. I won't call out his agency, but he's active cop up in Illinois, and he does the same thing. It's risky. So with him doing that, and me doing that, and us working together, and everybody else that's on here is a former cop, except for Trey. Trey's out in California, and he's a rookie. I mean, he's only got 2 or 3 years under his belt. So we kind of guide him. I know it is. I know. And it's so fun because his perspective is so fresh. Like I can see there's a lot of learning.
Bushy-tailed.
Yeah, there's a lot of learning he hasn't done yet. So when he says stuff, I don't jump on him. I'm like, all right, slow your roll. Let me give you a different perspective. And our audience.
Yeah. Or even what I like for what I do for a living, it's like, oh, you're happy with your job? That's so cute. Just come back to me later.
Right. Yeah. I love it. Yeah. Why don't we do this? Because I know not everybody caught your first episode with us, but I don't want to dwell on stuff you've talked about before because it's a new episode. So why don't you give people your background a little bit, let them get to know you, and just kind of give them a brief overview, and then we'll jump into it.
Yes, so I'm Bridgette Truxillo, not Trujillo. So if you see my name written, no matter where you are in the world, I've been in other countries, not Mexico, and people still want to say Trujillo. My husband's from New Orleans, and they pronounce the X, so Truxillo. I'm former deputy sheriff from Florida. Well, I'm not from Florida. I'm from the South in general. Louisiana, many other southern states. But I went to University of Florida for college. A week after I graduated, I went to the police academy because I thought I wanted to do like FBI, DEA, something federal. Decided to go to the sheriff's office to get there. And I did patrol for a year. Then I did undercover narcotics. And then shortly thereafter, I got on the SWAT team. I tell people all the time, it's one of the coolest things I've ever done. And also the reason why I left the sheriff's office. So being the only female member on the SWAT team is everything you would imagine it would be. And I left. So I chose to leave law enforcement because of that. I went to law school, and fast forward to now, I've had my own firm for a while now. My firm is called Lady Law Shield, and I specifically specialize in representing law enforcement and first responders in the type of crap that I faced at my agency. And so that includes things like harassment, discrimination, retaliation, but it also includes things like Brady Giglio, workers' comp retaliation, policy violations that evolve into that also equate into state violations. And so I do employment law, but in a way that a lot of employment lawyers don't do it, because my goal is to find a fix for your problem, because I needed a fix for my problem and I didn't know who to turn to. And I was in a union. I am a big fan of you. I think you should be in a union, because if you are in any kind of role where you could be indicted, then you should be in a union. Or firefighters, maybe you don't get indicted, but I mean, I guess maybe you could, but not like cops can be. But still, if you're in that first responder world, if you have an opportunity to be in a union, I think you should, because it provides you some protections. But they don't do what I do. And I was in a union and they didn't give me the kind of help that I provide. So that's what I do. I specialize in helping first responders solve the problem so that they have it work, so that you can try and tackle the rest of the mental health problems you have at work that happen no matter what.
Right. Yeah, that aren't necessarily internal causes, they're external causes of stress.
Right. Or just the worst is when you feel like it's your agency that's throwing you under the bus. So, I mean, because the work is going to be crap like fires, deaths, I mean, shootings, dead people. I mean, like what? When I was in the narcotics shooting and you just constantly went into houses where kids were being just like the worst thing to me was what happened to the kids in the world, you know, and what you see.
Yeah.
I mean, too, yeah, the bad things happen to a lot of people, but just the kid stuff really got me. But yeah, so that stuff's going to happen no matter what. So then what do you do about the rest of the stuff when your supervisors, your agency, or whatever is they're the problem, and that's what I
Yeah.
help people with. So like you go into the job knowing it's going to be hard, right? Like even the cute little ones that are 2 or 3 years in, that and you know you're gonna face crap shit that we can say that on this episode,
Yeah.
this
Yeah. Yeah.
live
For sure.
version. You know you're gonna face shit, and you shouldn't have to face the shit from your agency, and that's what I do. So, yeah.
Awesome. I love it. My auntie, she's on. She goes, "Where in Florida?"
Oh, love that question. Go Gators, come on, Auntie. I went to University of Florida, which is in Gainesville. I'm gonna give you a Gator chump
There you
and
go.
go Gators. But I'm from North Louisiana near Shreveport. My parents are from very small towns in North Louisiana, but I've lived like Louisiana, Missouri, Oklahoma, Arkansas, back to Louisiana, Florida, Texas, New York, Texas. So when I say I'm from mostly the South, I mean it. But Gainesville, Florida. So I was there for 12 years, and then I went to law school in South Florida at St. Thomas University Law School. It's called something else now. It's named after somebody I can't remember. But Miami for about 2.5 years, which was also awesome because my dad lived in the Keys at the time, and I was single mostly at the time. So whenever because I was broke also, and
You go
I
get
would
drinks
just go
bought
hang
for you.
out with my dad in the Keys on his boat and fish or just boat around, and it was great.
I love it.
Yeah.
I like
Yeah.
it. I got I am boss on here. He said I was originally on the edge with the sergeant. I think he's talking about me. I came over
Mhm.
from Izzo's recommendation. I think he's got a decent head on his shoulders. Thanks, brother. Appreciate that. Listen, we're not going to agree on every topic.
Mhm.
I'm big on police accountability. So I
Mhm.
do push a little heavier into police accountability, but I'm a grunt. I love catching bad guys. I still am active in catching bad guys. Now I use technology to do it versus my old man, body giving out on me. So I
That
do it
salt,
smarter.
a little
Yeah, all
salt
the
and pepper in there, Eric.
yeah. So I do it the smarter way now, not the harder way. So you're
Mhm.
gonna see me share videos, great videos of cops doing great work, catching bad guys. So I expect both sides. I'm what they call a fence sitter. I do sit kind of in the middle. I'm pretty balanced. So I am boss. If you're still trying to get to understand and see what we do, that's kind of how I am. I'm a fence sitter. That's what everybody will call me. It's a hard place to be because the side that hates cops hates when I promote good police work, and then the side that loves cops hates when I call out bad police work. So,
Well,
um,
I certainly I had somebody I was interviewing some people recently, and unfortunately, because I help people across the country, so I get more and more people are hearing about me. Unfortunately, more and more that means more and more people need me, which I wish nobody did, but they do. And I was interviewing somebody, and one of the things I always say in an interview is like, look, I mean, this should be probably self-evident, but you have to be pro law enforcement if you work for me, because while no one's perfect, like you have to be pro law enforcement. And it was shortly after the Minneapolis shooting, the woman, well, the back-to-back Minneapolis shootings,
I was
and
gonna say they get quite a few of them up there.
right,
So
I think it was those the ICE and the female, and then the male that was shot, back to back, and she's like, "Well, I'm glad you said that because I do like kind of sort of like you don't mean all things, right?" And I was like, "Well, if you're questioning whether or not I think that was a justified shooting, then we can have a conversation about that. But overall, you need to be pro law enforcement no matter what. Like
yeah,
don't show up an interview with me with like fuck ICE because this won't work out." you
right,
know.
yeah,
So, but I very much believe like you, I have some very strong opinions. Well, my strong opinions come in the place of go do a ride along before you have an opinion about what law enforcement has to put up with, because people just have no idea what cops see and do. And having done both and having been out of it for a very long time, and hearing people say, "Oh, you used to be a cop. What do you think about so and so?" And also because I'm in civil litigation and I'm on the plaintiff side of litigation, technically, even though I don't do much litigation, predominantly plaintiff side litigation lawyers are very much on the liberal side of things. And so when I get in a group of plaintiffs lawyers and they hear that I'm a cop, or heaven forbid they find out I'm a Republican, hence my Fight 2024 shirt, which I thought was appropriate given what happened last night with Trump. They just eat it up. They're like, surely you can't possibly think that was right. Surely you can't possibly think that was justified. And I'm like, yes, I do. I think that was a justified. I think in both those situations, sadly. Now, do I want anybody to be killed? No. Do I think those were justified shootings based upon the information I'm privy to? Yes, I think they're justified shootings. And I know you've been in law enforcement longer than me, but I was in SWAT for a little bit. And we would do things that included sitting in a room and doing nothing but talking through scenarios and anybody who's on a special ops team, like, what would you do if you have a hostage situation and the shooter is coming out, there's 12 hostages in the house. He comes out to pick up the pizza and he turns around to walk back into the house. Do you shoot? And, you go around the room and what'd you shoot? And, granted, could be a lot of other factors going on. Like, you don't want a bomb to go off, or, a lot of other what ifs. And I'm an attorney now too, so I could what if it till the end of the day. But like, if I have the opportunity to take out the shooter and I'm shooting in the back, yes, I would shoot him.
Yeah. And what's funny about, I'm going to stop you. What's funny about that is it could be a room full of, let's just say, we don't do politics on here too much, but let's just say for the state of political collaboration, that everybody on that specialized unit is all Republicans. Let's just say that, right? You're still going to get different answers from every single person. You're going to get the guys that'll be like, no, I'm not going to shoot. He's not a threat to anybody at the moment. And then you're going to get people that'll be like, well, do you take that risk? What if he shoots somebody after he goes inside when we could have taken him out?
Well, what if it's your mom?
Right. Both good arguments. And that's the decision making. That's you're damned if you do, damned if you don't sometimes in this job. And everybody becomes an expert once it gets on social. Look, I'm making a second career out of trying to be one of those experts on the internet. So I'll call myself out.
I see your videos sometimes and I'm like, I see the video and then you pop on. I'm like, oh, that's Erik. Like, oh, and then you say something. And I'm like, oh, that's not what I thought you would say about that. And, but that's the country we live in. It's important to have those conversations.
Yeah. And sometimes it's the perspective you're looking at things. You may have a perspective that makes sense. If you give me your perspective, I'm like, okay, that makes sense. But let me tell you how I'm thinking about it. And then you're going to look at mine and be like, oh, shit, I didn't think about that way. There's a video today that I posted of 2 officers going on motorcycles, driving 95 miles an hour down the freeway. They're not lights and sirens, so they're not going to a call, more than likely. If they were, probably a policy violation. It was in California, and I believe California doesn't have a speed limit over 70 anywhere. Right. So you were doing 95. Typical policy at most departments is you can't go over 20 miles an hour to the posted speed limit while running lights and sirens. So you got to be running code to the call to even do that. And they weren't doing that. And then you stopped your bike because another motorcycle was keeping pace with you to pull this guy over and then proceed to bitch him out and demean him because he was going the same speed as you. So now I've got a problem with it as a cop. I'm like, you can't do that. Like, don't get me wrong. Cops, just for the sake of traffic, and I want people to hear me out on this topic. If a cop does the speed limit on the freeway is going to get backed up.
Oh, it's horrible.
Yeah.
Horrible.
It's going to get, because nobody wants to pass the cop.
Nope.
So I don't have a problem with cops going over the speed limit. You want to do 10 over?
7,
I'm okay with that.
10.
Yeah, whatever it is.
I used to think when I was in the patrol car, 7 to 10. Like, let's just keep traffic flowing. 7 to 10. So
traffic gets going. But certainly don't go starting to pull people over for speed. Now, if it's egregious and dangerous and they're weaving in and out, okay, you make a safety concern thing. But generally on the freeway, you're going in a straight line. I'm a live and let live. If I'm speeding, I'm sure as shit not going to go be a hypocrite. So that was kind of the whole topic. But people are like, well, you don't know. It could be going to this, could be going to that. They start to what if it. And I'm like, okay, let's go down this rabbit hole. Let's say it's a burglary. It's a burglary.
Yeah.
You know, it's a hot call that it benefits you to show up quiet.
Right.
You don't want people to hear you coming. What do? Typically, we cut our sirens. You're still going to leave your lights going if you're
Right.
speeding.
Lights are going to be on. Yeah.
So that argument goes out the window. If you need to show up quiet, which motorcycle cops do not show up to calls, guys. I don't know any motorcycle cops that show up to basic calls unless shit has hit the fan or they just happen to be in the area. And that's about it.
Those. Yeah.
Yeah. I've never seen a motorcycle cop show up to my call ever.
No, these guys are like, our motorcycle cop was like, you might as well have been coming off a TV show. Like, you know.
Yeah. They write tickets is what they do.
Yeah.
So for me, I'm like that, you know, if you're going to what if this, and, you know, I could tell it's cops that are arguing with me. And they're like, well, you know, and one even said, well, I've been a motor cop for the last 10 years, 5 years, whatever it was. And I'm like, okay. It's like, regardless, you still have to turn your lights on if you're going to be going that fast.
For a call.
And let's say you were going to a call. Why would you stop en route if it's that important of a call just to write a ticket? So your logic goes out the window. I've been a sergeant long enough. I've been doing the job long enough that I call them rookie arguments because that's what the rookies are going to do. They're going to try to make these arguments to show why they need to do enforcement. And I think it takes the senior officers like us to internally change the culture of policing to show them enforcement doesn't always have to be the answer. And are you enforcing out of ego or are you enforcing out of public safety? This was definitely an ego thing because when he got off the bike, he's like, motherfucking, you stupid as shit or what? You know, trying to keep up with me. Like, I'm like, okay, so this has nothing to do with public safety. You're just mad because he dared to do the same thing you're doing and he doesn't happen to be a cop. And I don't agree with that. So
I've said a lot that often that the job of being a cop does bring a lot of dangerous ego factors into it because you are given the right to do things like murder, kidnap, false imprisonment. And you think like, no, I'm not. Okay, but if you weren't a cop, that's what those things would be. If you shoot somebody, it's murder or manslaughter. If you put somebody in handcuffs, it's false imprisonment. If you put somebody in a car and drive them to another place against their will, that's kidnapping. You're allowed to do things by law that no other human is allowed to do. And with that, it has a lot of power. Hence why there should be a lot of transparency in everything that you do.
Yeah.
And so then that's where all the lawyers come in is, you know, like, are you going too far? But you know, like even what I do, like and what you do, why everything about your job is public. That's why they can get your public records. That's why, like, I can't represent somebody from AT&T and go, hey, give me all the employee records. I can't do that without a subpoena. I got to go to court. I got to get a subpoena. But for your job, I can go say, hey, I'm filing a public records request. Give me everything. I can get what you make, depending on where you live. I can get how much you make. I can get but when we have to do that, we need to know if while you're in this job that you can murder, kidnap, false imprison, whatever, all other labels. You need to be it's important that we have that. Now, obviously people take that too far, and the what do you call it? The quarterback, the
Monday morning quarterbacking.
Yes, thank you. God bless.
There you go.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm glad you brought this topic up because there's a video I was going to show towards the end of the podcast, but you hit the topic, so we might as well bring it up now.
Do it now.
So I'm gonna biggie size this here, and I made this video, so I've already seen this, but I kind of want to get your reaction.
Okay.
So I'll give you kind of the background. There's a cop at this lady's house writing her a ticket for something. Don't know what it is.
Oh. I grabbed it! This is litter! This is my porch! You can't do that! This is my porch! Did you just really grab me like that? I ain't worried about it. I got it.
Somebody asked what my reaction. So, I'm going to stop sharing this. So basically what we just saw there, he's writing the ticket, gives it to her. She decides to snatch it and throw it on her own porch. And normally we don't write tickets at people's houses. It's not that's not a normal thing, I think, personally, for cops.
No.
So do I think instinct took over and he was like, littering? Because his ego triggered. You're not going to snatch it out of my hand and throw it. And he's like, I got her. And then I think he realized, oh, fuck, I don't. We're on her property.
Right. No.
And so
legally
standing, that was in the, somebody in our audience pointed out on our YouTube channel that was within the threshold of the door. So an argument could be made. Like, you just broke the threshold and you ripped her out of her house.
I mean, I would want to see it. I would want to look at that again harder from that context, but certainly he's on her private property and on that porch. So while you certainly have the legal authority in some instances, and I don't know all the facts, to enter the private property onto the porch to give the ticket, obviously, if you're still line of sight or if you have the proof to say this is the person and the driver and all those things. Because we all know, I mean, I don't do criminal law stuff at all, but I mean, I've been a cop. So I know, like, if I'm going to give that person a ticket, I have to be able to prove that's the person was driving that car that did the things. Right. So you could have the legal authority to walk up and give her the ticket, but you have no authority whatsoever when she snatches it from you. I mean, let's say she even swatted his hand a bit as she was taking the ticket from him. Right. So is that assaulting an officer? That's not, what DA would take that? I mean,
there's no intent behind
at least
that.
not in Texas, not in our state. No DA is going to take that here.
Right.
So, but that when he grabbed her, I mean, you better have reasonable suspicion or articulation to describe why you felt like you needed to, in that moment, to hold on to that person, because otherwise that's not legal. And certainly there's an argument to be made that once she entered her home and you're pulling her out, I mean, that is you have an arrest warrant. I mean, you certainly could have certain circumstances where you can have you can articulate needing to arrest the person in the moment as they're entering their home. But is that it? Like, on a misdemeanor charge? Is she fleeing? I mean, there's so many different things where that cop, I think, got pissed off in the moment and was trying to say, no, you have to listen to me because I said so. And there's just so many situations. Right. Yeah.
So in that, Mr. Billfold, one of our greatest people ever that follows us, actually helps out with the show on occasion, said, Eric, how is that officer's use of force not a crime? You got an answer for that as a lawyer?
It could be, honestly, it could be excessive force, which is a crime. And as we all know, there is immunity for law enforcement officers, that if you can articulate what you thought you were doing in the moment that justified the use of force, then you're immune to that, meaning that you are immune to the crime something that would otherwise be a crime to someone else. Again, I only saw that short clip. I don't know what led to it, anything else.
It's unfair for us to come to a finite decision, but looking at what we have in front of us.
Do I think that it should be looked at as a possibility in attorney speak that there's this officer the incident should be looked at, and do I think his agency should look into that harder to either, at the very least, make it a training opportunity or escalate it to letter reprimand or worse. I'm not saying it should be worse. I'm just saying whether that's like mandatory training or whatever else. But I think that should be looked into.
My investigative mindset when I look at that, especially as being a supervisor, I see no immediate apology. I see no arrest. You can literally see the light bulb go off. Oh, fuck. Like, you can see the light bulb go off. It's not littering. It's on her own property. It's not even out in the yard. It's on the porch. So we don't have littering. We have no offense of her doing that. So you went hands-on based off of that snap decision. And then here's where, if I was to follow through with this case, this is what I'd be hoping to see. That you apologized, one. I would hope that you did. We didn't see that. And he actually walks off. And that's the last I see on that video. I would hope you went and self-reported without leaving scene. I would hope you stayed out in your car. Hey, Sarge, I need you to come here. I screwed up. And I hope that got caught on your body cam, because that's going to go into like I said, I do truly think at first he was like, oh, littering, and he was wrong. I think that's what he was, ego and in the littering. And then I think he realized it, but that doesn't mean you're immune from not getting in trouble. But to make it better for me to sit with, for this guy to still have a job, I want you to show remorse. I want you to have taken the right steps without having to be investigated for it. Like, I want you to trigger that investigation. If I have anything shy of that, I got no leniency. I
thoroughly agree with what you're saying, especially from the context of what I do when, well, if he made a mistake, because I get people will call me, and if as an employment lawyer on the civil side, so like, I can't help you if you truly violated your policies and they're tagging you for it, then I don't get involved in that. Also, I'm also a firm believer in right and wrong, follow the rules, do what you're supposed to do what's hard. Like, the definition of integrity is do what's hard when nobody's looking. And so I did that. I would like mess up when I was at the sheriff's office, call my sergeant right away and say, holy crap, I messed up. What do I do? And he would say, oh no, Bridgette, you're overreacting. Just do such and such. But certainly it can be much worse than that. And that I agree with you in the sense that if I'm giving advice to somebody like, I messed up, what should I do? I would say exactly what you said, which is, if you know you might have crossed the lines and what you should have done per policy or law or whatever, stop where you are right away, get your sergeant and tell them. Now, I'm not saying, like, you might have a shitty sergeant who, like, and there's so many stories of what I do is that, like, oh, and then they targeted me after that or blah, 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 whatever. But no matter what, if you did something where you're violating somebody's civil rights, or you've potentially crossed over into a criminal violation, stop what you're doing right away, because you're going to minimize it. And to say exactly what you said. And also, hopefully, as a good supervisor, is like what obviously you are, is help them through that. Like, no big deal, and we can fix this. And then if they made a mistake and they've got to be written up about it, then that's not a big deal. There's nobody that gets through this profession without something in their file, period. No matter what. So I would say that what you said, like, pull over, call your sergeant, have them come over. Whether or not I think he would have the courage to go up and say, listen, lady, I'm sorry, but you and your sergeant are going to be able to address that in a way to fix it. And if it results in a letter in your file, I've seen incidents where it results in something like an email of a sergeant saying, I'm aware of the situation, we're handling it on the training side. And that is fine. There's a record of it. That's important for you and the public to show that it was acknowledged, because then the public can never come back and say, oh, look, see, this is a rogue cop and he just got away with it. Even just saying we're aware of it, it's a training issue, we're taking care of it. It doesn't have to result in a PIP, in your file, or a ding in your file. It could, but that's okay, because you're going to be a cop for a long time, and those things happen.
Yeah, you're going to screw. And that's the other thing that I'm trying to get more out of the public is a grace for making mistakes in a job that demands perfection.
But I think it's important to say, like, a mistake, we're not talking about, oh, I killed the wrong person. That's not what we mean.
Right.
Like, we don't want that to happen either. We all want to prevent, first of all, no cop wants to shoot anybody, first of all, or really hurt anybody. Even like anytime you get into a big fight, that people are always saying, stop. Like, cops are begging them to stop, always. And if they're not, then they should be evaluated. But my point being, but go ahead. Sorry.
Oh no, you're good. You're good. I just, I'm trying to help guide, I guess, my perspective to people on the show anyways. And I think quite a few people have kind of come around to what I'm saying. They may not necessarily fully agree, but there are times where I'm like, look, he screwed up, but is it fixable? All the time and money that's been spent into the training and getting this cat to where he's at, do you really want to waste your city's money on something that could be fixed? I don't think you do. I just think sometimes, and this is where other people have to be honest and have kind of that self-reflection. Are you making an emotional judgment just because you got kind of a little bias against police? Or are you legitimately think like, no, this guy can't be in public anymore? You can't have them dealing with the public. It's just not in them. And I definitely think mistakes of the heart, like if you've got mean intentions, like I don't have any forgiveness on that stuff. Like the whole Sonia Massey, the boiling water. I don't know if you saw that one.
Yeah.
Like that one infuriated me because that call should have been over with well before they ever made entry into the house, which they shouldn't have done that either. Like it was a crazy lady that was saying crazy stuff and you didn't have a crime. She was worried somebody was breaking in the house. They weren't. You checked it, fucking beat feet and go. But they wanted to keep pushing, now they're trying to get ID. They're trying to do all this like stupid shit. And what did it end up being? It should have been, there's so many times they should have just left, but then there should have been a time when the training officer should have told this nut job cop that was like, I'm going to put a fucking hole in your fucking face. Like that instantly, if you would have said that when we're on a call, Bridgette, together, I'd be like, hey, partner, why don't you go out to the car?
Yeah, I got this one.
I got this. You're a little on edge. Mr. Been to 6 different departments in the last, couple years. Like that's a red flag.
Yeah. Oh shoot. Yeah.
He's going to prison now. So
I've had people like that call me and like, how many department? And I always say that. How many law enforcement jobs you've had? Oh, I've been at 3 places in 4 years. Like,
yeah, that's a red flag.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And so like I want to hope that no cop wants to shoot anybody, but there are sometimes I get that vibe where I'm like,
well,
you've been itching.
Listen, if you're in this, I definitely said it when I was in the job that, and like, no offense to any of you, but because I believe I choose to be positive, probably not Debbie Downer but I do think sometimes there's a fine line between cop and criminal.
Absolutely. I can tell you this. Like I've heard other officers, like especially younger officers too, under 25 years of age. Like, man, I hope somebody fucks around today and finds out. And I'm just like, you're an idiot. Like, in full discretion, when I was a young cop, I kind of thought the same thing. Not about just general citizens, though. I was hoping, like, the homicide suspect would run by me and be like, I hope he doesn't, listen to me so I can get his ass. Like, I remember thinking stupid shit like that. But I'm older and more seasoned. And
have you ever heard a female say that?
Oh, yeah.
I did too one time. It was when I was close to leaving the sheriff's office and SWAT team was called in to help administer like this PT test we were giving because we had a great sheriff and he was given this like rewards program where if you would pass this PT test, you'd get extra money or extra days off or whatever, which I thought was great because our normal PT test was such a joke. And this girl came up and she was maybe a year in, and not that I was that much longer in, but I just was a lot older than her. I just started later than her, I guess. Or maybe I was closer to 30 and she was maybe, I don't know, 20 something. Not that that's a big a difference because now I'm 50 something and they're all young. Anyway, there was this guy on our SWAT team, his name, well, I won't say his name, but he was former Marine. I mean, he's a great guy. I just spare his name. I don't have any beef with him. Great guy, former Marine, totally looked like a Marine, like the haircut, the thick neck, just like if you could put a bulldog into a man's body, that was him. But a great guy. And she said, oh, just give me 30 seconds with name. And I would take him. And I literally looked at him and I said, you're out of your fucking mind. And she's like, what? I could do it. I said, you would die if you fought with him in 30 seconds. And then you would make the entire department rush to your aid and probably get a lot of people hurt in the process. Like what? And she was so offended by what I said. I couldn't believe. I was like, you are out of your freaking mind and you're going to get people hurt. Like that's the stupidest thing.
I know we've talked about this in the past, but we got a lot of new people and I want to be a little bit controversial.
Do it.
What is your feeling about females in law enforcement, having been in the tier 1 division of law enforcement as a female?
My opinions of this have changed a lot over the years. Okay. When I left the sheriff's office, I was like, fuck all of them. Fuck you with 2 middle fingers. Like, I was pissed because I was good. I was physically capable. And just to put it as an example, like we had a SWAT team. We would compete at SWAT Roundup International in Florida, in Orlando. They still have it every year. In order to compete on the competition team, I had to beat out some of my own teammates. So the first year I went, we had 2 teams. So most of us went because we had 21 or 22 teammates, and 2 teams of 6 went. But still, some of my teammates didn't go. The second time we went, only 1 team went, and I had to try out for it. So I beat, I was one of 6 that I beat the other of the 21 or 22 that didn't go. So obviously I was capable of doing that. And then we placed in the top 20 out of 74, 76 teams. I don't remember where we were exactly. Like overall, I can't remember. And then each day you placed differently. And then not only that, but you'd have 6 people on the team, but each day only 5 competed. So in order for me to compete in the actual competition, I had to be better than that one other SWAT team. I only set out 1 competition that year. And one of them I did not set out on was the obstacle course. So one of my 6 teammates, I was as the only female, and it was amazing. Having said that, women are women and men are men. And there's nothing you can do to change that. Apples and oranges. I will never be a dude and you'll never be a chick. And there are some hardwired factors in there. Do I think women are capable of doing the job? Absolutely. Did I do it to the same standard the men did? Absolutely. Exact same tryout, exact same shooting, exact same clearing. Now, can I carry a 350-pound dude from a burning building? Not necessarily, but did I carry the same dummy, however much he weighed during the tryout, get him to the van like everybody? Yes. Well, we all have our strong suits. So I'm not always the person that would be the battering point. I'm going to answer your question. I think that women have a very strong role to play in law enforcement because they have a way of engaging with humans that men just don't. Not all men, but most men. And most men who are in law enforcement. That being said, women definitely have a different physical ability, period. No matter what. I was never going to fight. I was never going to arrest somebody on my own without somebody else to back me up, if I could at all help it when I was in law enforcement, because I'm not stupid. I don't care if the guy was smaller than me. He has more testosterone than me, and I'm not going to do that if I can all help it. Now, I worked in a jurisdiction where I was in a patrol car by myself the majority of my 12-hour shift. So if I had to do an arrest, I was really good at calling for backup and saying, like, they would, we would do that as 2, but it might take me 30 minutes of bullshitting. So
right.
I'm saying
that's the right way to do it.
It is the right way to do it.
That's how a man would be doing it too. That's how I would do it.
I mean, why would you ever do that shit by yourself if you don't have to?
I preach on you all the time. Stop making arrests by yourself. That's where you get yourself in trouble.
And I've had a client who got in trouble for doing a felony arrest by himself when he should have waited. He misremembered a fact on a video. He's like, oh, well, he got out on his own. The video showed that he called the guy out. He didn't remember because it's adrenaline. And that's a real fact. That's a thing. Adrenaline makes you misremember things. Also, sidebar, as your attorney, I'm going to say, always review the video before you answer questions. That's all I'm going to say. I'm going to say, as a female, you're just different. And you're never, ever going to be the same. And if you expect them to invite you to the same parties and be included in the crew, you're just not going to be. You can be friendly, you can be friends, but it's never going to be the same. And that's where even I got that wrong when I was at the sheriff's office. You've just got to remember that. It's just a fact. And you can still be good at your job and respected, but you're never going to be one of the boys, no matter what. And do I think women can do the job? Yes, but you must remember what you have to be cognizant of what your abilities are. Now, I worked with some badass, strong as freaking ever women, stronger than me, bigger than me. And I mean, I'm 5'5", and I don't remember what I weighed back then, but not big. And I've never been a bulky person. I've never been a loud person. I can scream like the heck of them. My kids would tell you I'm really good at screaming, but I'm not the biggest one. And so you have to be aware of that and know what your strengths are and know what those battles are going to be. The other problem I have with women in law enforcement is, and I'll say that in a way to potentially piss people off to hear me, is if you're going to have a child and you're going to get pregnant on the job, for heaven's sake, go on light duty and stop. Do not put your baby at risk. It is not worth it. I don't care what your assignment is. Now, would I have been upset to come off SWAT and narcotics, like the stuff that I worked so hard for, if I was pregnant? Yes. Would I have been worried about they weren't going to put me back? Absolutely. But I have 3 kids now, and there's not and granted, I wasn't a mom back then, but I am a mom now, and you're a dad. Not to share your story, sorry. But
they know.
I mean, if you're a parent, I'm just saying, don't do that to yourself. And I've heard so many stories when women will say, oh, I'm not going to tell them I'm pregnant. They'll take me off the job. Yes, they should take you off the job. Are you out of your mind? And as a sergeant, if you're aware of a female being on your shift and being pregnant and you don't do something about it, you are creating a problem and a liability for yourself. And I promise you, they'll put you on the stand later and say that and get you to prove that you knew it, because lying is hard to keep up with. And then you're going to get sued when something happens to her. I promise you, don't do it.
Yeah. I want to read I Am Boss's comment. Where did it go? I had it here. I lost it. Oh, there it is. He said, women have a broad ego, no pun intended. Just because they have those real cops behind her, they'd have no chance as a citizen. So they have to overcompensate. They don't belong on the street, in my opinion.
That's an interesting opinion, I Am Boss. Is that person a cop or not? Do we know?
I have no idea. I don't know.
Okay. I thoroughly disagree with that. I was very good at my job. I feel and I think a lot of women are very good at their jobs, and women can, like I say, women can relate to people in a way that men are incapable of doing. And no, they don't need to be like in the office and waiting for them to come in to be talked to. Women can diffuse situations in a way just by being present. And also, I think you need to be aware of what everybody's abilities are. People need to be able to fight no matter what. So I thoroughly, okay, well, I appreciate you asking the question. But no, I thoroughly disagree with that. I do think women I do think women should be a part of the job. I do think it balances things out in the grand scheme of things. And I also very much think people and sergeants and up need to always be aware of people's abilities. And that comes down to the sergeants on the street really doing their jobs and engaging with their people and talking with them and tracking what they do so that they know what people can and cannot do and move them as they need to be moved.
I'm going to try to drop some Confucius wisdom.
Do it.
Here.
Do it.
First, Freeman. Yes, we can see your chat, brother. Freeman's one of our regulars. What up, Free? I'm going to propose a stat that I can't substantiate. It's just, I'm just going off my experience training around this nation. There are more females in policing that can talk themselves through a call than there are male cops that know how to fight. And what I mean by that is because there's so many male cops that don't know how to fight, uses of force go up versus the amount of females that actually have to go hands-on and try to defend themselves. I think there are more guy cops that can't fight and use too much force than there are female cops that can't fight and get into a use of force. I have nothing to substantiate that. No real research. I am just like y'all say, here's another topic that we're going to get into tonight is when people say, well, most cops, they're cops because they got bullied, or, most cops, they do this. I'm like, where are you getting this most? Like, truly, where are you getting it from? At least I'll be honest and upfront. I am telling you, just based on all of the training and stuff that I've done over my time, I've got no real research to back this up, but I have seen more females that can talk their way through a tough call than I have seen male cops that can actually fight and get into a higher use of force because they don't know what they're doing. So
I would agree with that in 2 ways. One, having been a female, I can distinctly remember being on whatever highway. Good point.
Having been a female.
Having been a deputy sheriff. As a female,
I just had
very good point. My husband's like that. I
had to cross-examine him.
I appreciate that very much. Having still been a female, and I remember being a female back in the day, when I was a deputy sheriff, being on this highway, it was one of those nights where it was no moon, like pitch black, and I had pulled somebody over, and it was one of those like 2 lanes. I mean, just it was like a wide highway. Nobody was going anywhere. It was in the rural parts of our county, and this person had a warrant. And thankfully, I had the earpiece because I worked nights and called out they had a warrant. So I called backup, and I was waiting and waiting and waiting. And the person, you can kind of tell when they kind of start doing, they kind of start moving a little, because our agency, when you did a traffic stop, you always called people out. You never left them in the car. So we called them out, and we were waiting. And I was like, man, I'm so sorry. Dispatch is so backed up tonight. This is so aggravating. And, I was like, man, oh my gosh, they just told me and I just BS'd my way through it. And then somebody pulled up behind him, and he's like, what is that? And I was like, I don't know. I think it's my partner. He was wondering, he's wondering what's going on too. And as soon as he walked out, he's like, okay, I need you to turn around. You put your hands behind your back. You have a warrant. And that, I would say, versus somebody who would be like, put your hands behind your back, and you're in the middle of nowhere, pitch black. Now, the converse of that is, and we all know as law enforcement, and I would say to the world, is one of the most dangerous things you can do in law enforcement is a traffic stop, because you don't know who you're pulling over. And especially, you just never know. Somebody who just got out of prison never is going to go back and comes out guns a-blazing. Shortly after I left the sheriff's office, a guy, I can't remember the exact details about how I got into the woods, but they chased this guy, traffic stop, went to the woods. It was in my area. Like, we had a SWAT team. It was Alachua County, Ocala, I can't remember their county right now, Marion County, they had a SWAT team. So it was enough of a situation where they called in 3 different SWAT teams. This guy was shooting and chased this guy into the woods, shot a K9. So then they call everybody in, they go search for him. And they end up shooting him 60 times. And later the sheriff said, why'd you shoot him 60 times?
It was because we ran out of bullets.
Sheriff said, well, I guess they ran out of bullets. It was not long after I left the sheriff's office when that happened. But the point being,
was it the same department?
Not my department. That was near me. It was just near me when that.
Okay.
I think my agency's SWAT team got called. Like, they were just calling out because it was bad enough. That's not Lake City. It's a little bit south of me in Florida. Anyway, the sheriff is still there. Something Grady.
I know. Yeah. Grady. I've tried to get him on here before.
He's great. Keep trying. He's working.
Well, I don't think he will. I don't think he will, because I ask hard questions. Like, I'll let my audience ask questions, and if it's
he's
not
good at doing that.
But he's so pro cop. Like, don't get me wrong.
That's true. That's
so pro cop. I just don't think his people will let him do my show.
Well, but he's also a politician. He's a sheriff. So, I mean, he has an argument to be made, and he gets elected to do that. So
I just think my audience would ask.
I think also maybe your constituent, you need to get more people from Florida, and they'll get you in.
Right.
But my point being, as a female, would I have wanted to get all the fighting tactics? Absolutely. But do I think that men rely a little too much on the fact that they're just men, not a little or a lot, depending on you, of learning the right tactics? I think that's changed a lot since I went to the academy, where they taught you just regular old DT and taught you to fall down with your arms by your sides, and then that stupid stuff.
Slap the mat.
Right. Versus now, where it's more jujitsu style and grappling and really like,
hell yeah, brother.
Like, that is what, like, I never did that, and now I'm too old to try, but I definitely would have back then. And
you're not too old. Never
listen,
too old.
like, let's not get started about
Helio did it into his 80s. You're fine.
No, listen, I'm good. Let's just say I'm good. I'm capable of running away. Let's just say that. There you go.
Fair enough. I like it.
And protecting my kids. I want to protect my kids no matter what. Let's just say that. But I would say that it's more of, if you're going to be in this job, you need to equip yourself in always possible. And I don't mean buying all the stupid guns you don't need. I mean, learn how to fight and learn how to survive. And that does not mean shooting. It means fighting. If you're going to go if you're going to go hands-on, know how to do that. And so I just think, I think there's not enough of that. I think that's some agency issues, not necessarily a person issue. I think more agencies should do all that they can. I worked at an agency where our sheriff gave us lots of training and lots of equipment. I was very lucky that way. And I think there's too many agencies that don't do that.
Yeah. I think one of the things I highlighted a couple of these comments that they had with Grady is the no body cams. And I got to say, I have a big issue with that myself.
Oh, I do too. In today's world, you can't get away from it. Just do it. I mean,
you shouldn't want, like, listen, I am the definition of that feeling you get when you're driving down the freeway and all of a sudden you realize you just passed a trooper and you didn't, like, even as a cop, I'm like, oh, fuck. Like, you're looking down. Was I speeding? Like,
right.
Whole Pucker factor. That is the exact same instinct I have when I have accidentally walked out of the sector without my body cam on my person when I knew I was going on duty. That is the type of reaction you should have when you don't have a body cam. I want an Insta360 somehow just mounted on my head. Like, I want as many angles about everything I'm doing as possible. And the fact that there's agencies still out there, not a lot of them, but there's agencies still out there that don't have them.
Sheriff Grady's one of those that won't do body cam?
Oh, not only does he not have them, he kind of brags about it. Like it's a...
Oh, wow. That is surprising to me because number one, like I said, in today's world, you're not going to, it's inevitable. One. Two is from an officer perspective. And I've said this many times. I've been on like many podcasts where I've said, we've had conversations around, as an officer, don't wait on if your agency's not giving you training, that sucks. Go get it.
Yourself. Yes.
There's no excuse for it whatsoever. They'll more than likely pay for it. If they can't pay for it, you'll probably find somebody who could get to cover it for you. People do scholarships. You want to go to some conference, send them an email and say, my agency won't pay for it. Can you cover it? They probably will do it. You're going to get the credit for it for your certification. And so educate yourself. There's absolutely no reason whatsoever. And I will tell you that in the courts, the standard is knew or should have known. So depending on how long you've been a cop, you're going to need to know. You're going to need to learn it and learn all the things. And that includes things like defensive tactics. Like I wanted to go, let's say, for example, I was going to try and go to the Florida Deputy Sheriff's Association conference in May in Florida. I mean, that's my people. I was Florida Deputy Sheriff. I can't go. Anyway, there's a lot of tactical training there. The SWAT Roundup training competition that I went to, they have tactical training there. And you would think like tactical, like SWAT guys, why do they need training? They train all the time. They need more training. You can never, the second that you feel like I got this, I don't need any more training, is the second that you're creating liabilities for yourself. So, and also dangers for yourself. Like just protect yourselves in all ways. And also it makes the job more fun. The job is too hard already. Just go learn something you don't know. Go do some different job. Create yourself. And what you're also doing is you're making yourselves more marketable for the next position, agency, or wherever you want to go. You don't just sit where you are. And now I knew some guys that were just perfectly happy being deputy sheriffs for 30 years. Good for them, as long as they were still able to do the job the right way. But I just think and again, at my agency, we had a lot of different trainings that were required. Florida has a lot of different trainings that are required. I know Texas is the same where we are. All states are that way. Some of them not so much. I'll spare those names. But no matter, I don't care what your requirements are, you should be educating yourself so that you can protect yourself and be happier. Just keeps you, just be happy.
I'm not going to read his name because I'll get canceled if I do. And I'm not going to put it on the screen.
That's fun. Tell me later.
Yeah. You could see, well, no, you can't. Yeah. I don't know if you can see the chat or not. Where the hell did it go? I just had it up here. He was asking about Northern cops. Okay. I'll just say one more. One more asked, how come police in Northern states seem to protect people's rights of people a little more? They seem not to press the public as much. I would say that that's just a perception. I would say that's just how you're seeing things. Because I've seen, like in Texas, for instance, I've seen a lot of good police work protecting Second Amendment rights because everybody's got a gun. But I've also seen really bad examples of violating somebody's Second Amendment rights, and it was in Texas. So I'm like, I always looked at Texas as having it's the pro-gun state. But there's examples of cops pressing people's rights, and I'm like, you're an idiot. Like, you stomping all over this dude's rights. Shouldn't have de-armed him, shouldn't have done all this. Florida, another one. I always thought of Florida as a very pro-gun state. And then there's a great video out there that we shared on here of a female officer trying to disarm voluntarily. The guy did give consent for her to take his gun off her hip. And instead of just pulling the whole holster out, she pulls the gun and drops the round in his leg, shoots the dude on a basic traffic stop. So we got into the whole topic about taking somebody's firearm. So the point that I'm trying to get to one more is I don't really think that that's true. I just think it's probably been your experience and what you've seen. He's laughing because I didn't say his name. Listen, bro, I know my role. I don't have permission to say.
I just opened up the chat. Sorry, I just opened up the chat and I'm seeing what some folks are saying, which is funny.
Yeah, there you go. Now you can see.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and feel free if you want to jump on any of the comments.
Thanks, Mr. Bilford.
Mr. Billfold, yeah, he's one of our.
Sorry, Billfold, not Ford.
Yeah, Mr. Billfold.
Sorry about that. Sorry, Mr. Billfold. Sorry. I see you, buddy.
Yeah, he's been on the show. He actually, do you know Force Science's Von Kleem from Force Science? He's a huge use of force expert. He's a cop and attorney, goes around the country.
We should meet. No, I haven't.
Oh my God. I should get you, Anthony Bandero from Blue to Gold.
Yeah.
He's a arrest, search, and seizure expert. And then I should get Von Kleem on. I get all three of you on, and we can just have a fucking legal talk on here about policing and all that stuff. That would be
fun because I certainly don't. That's definitely a specialty that I don't do, and also just having been a cop. So certainly,
and they've all been cops. Actually, I think Vaughn is I think he still is a cop. I think he's like a reservist. But yeah, it'd be fun. Freeman said, Bridgette, we appreciate you coming on for us tonight. Yeah, and like I said, a lot of our guys, they'll give you shit. They're gonna give you hard questions, and
I'm good with it.
And they're just. You know, they're gonna want to see if you. We had a chief on here one night, and I won't say who it was, but he's just, let's say he was in the Midwest area, and we were just talking about basic trespass, and he butchered it. I mean, absolutely, like all the things that I talk about on a lot of my trespass videos about forcing ID and all this stuff when you don't have a right to somebody's ID on a civil issue, and he's like, so I brought it up. Just think, I should have known better, but I brought the topic up, and he just butchered it. And I'm sitting there, and I'm trying to like do damage control, and my guys in the chat, Mr. Billfold and all the rest of them, are lighting him up, and I know he's seeing it. And I'm just like, oh, I'm just being respectful. I'm never gonna tear down a guest or anything like that. But I am watching this man just get destroyed by everybody in the chat, and. After we got him off, me and Banning, which Banning should be jumping on tonight. I want you guys to know Banning was out Banning's got such a reputation. I don't know if you've met Banning on our show, but he's my co-host. He got called out by his former agency to help with a CIT issue of, I won't put out too much business. The CIT issue with somebody in their city, and went out there to help. And he's currently, that's what he's doing right now. He's helping that guy get the help he needs. Talk somebody off a ledge type thing. So shout out to Banning tonight, who's not, he should join us if he can. He said he's going to jump on. He's just not sure when he's going to be able to get on. So, but yeah, if you don't know Banning, you should hit him up on LinkedIn. That's his big thing. Freeman Keys said, Von Kleem is a damn wizard. He really is. Yeah, if you don't know, I'm going to say
Billfold. Sorry, Mr. Billfold said he'd rather take a Valium than listen to three lawyers. I don't doubt that, Mr. Billful. I
Yeah.
don't usually like to be in a room with a bunch of lawyers at one time and that's generally why I don't get with very many lawyers but I definitely like to say I'm not the typical lawyer because I can't stand it.
Oh my God, would it be so fun?
Especially trial lawyers. Nobody can pat themselves on the back. I've always said like their arm must hurt because they're just patting themselves on the back so much. There's a reason why I don't work in law firms anymore. I can't stand them. It's just not my jam, but I get to do what I do for myself and for cops. So yeah.
So Banning, they're making fun of, well, they're not making fun of him, but they're teasing Banning a little bit. Banning's like, he is a true his name's Banning Sweatland. I mean, is as Texas a name as it comes, right? And he is as country as it gets when it comes to, he was 350 plus pounds, 6'2", Marine, like just a country fed boy. And he's retired now. He had just retired like maybe a year ago. But anyway, he went on a fast. He's trying to better himself, trying to lose weight. And when the dude shakes your hands, he's like one of those guys that you just, everything about you turns into a pussy. Like you just like, oh my God, I'm such a bitch shaking this man's hand. Like I did one, his hand engulfs my hand. Two, I know without a doubt, all he'd have to do is grab me by the back of the neck. There's nothing I could do about it. As much jujitsu as I know, and as long as I've been training, if Banning got a hold of me, I'm done. I can't do anything. But he's been fasting. He fasted for like 8 days in a row. He's dropped
like water fasting.
Yes. Water, maybe caffeine too. But yeah. So he's loving it, and so they were asking if he's eaten yet. He has eaten, guys. He's not gonna go 40 days and 40 nights without eating. But he's lost a lot of weight. He's got a lot of progress going on, doing really well.
For Jesus.
Yeah. I know, right? So they're all giving him some shit. But yeah, he's looking good. He's doing really well. And I commend him because I have I've done a 3-day fast. That's the most I've ever fasted. And I can tell you right now, if I would have done that while I was on duty, I would have got fired. I was the biggest asshole. Nothing made me laugh.
I don't know. I know there's a lot of science behind it. I believe strongly in like intermittent fasting or restricted eating time frames. And I generally do carnivore. I mean, just all the whatever things. And, but strict fasting, I've never brought myself. I hear that after about 72 hours that you can get into like another state of mind, which is really great. But once you get past the hunger, it's somebody told me once, I've had 3 kids and I never did without an epidural. And after I had my second, I think I said my sister-in-law had done it without epidural. And I was like, oh, maybe I'll try that next time. And she goes, let me tell you what, you better be very sure it's what you want to do or you won't make it. And I feel like if you're going to fast like that, you have to go into it with that mindset. You have to be very sure that that's what you're going to do. Or otherwise you can't do it. I've done like bone broth fasts or, things like that, which I like a lot, but I just nothing but water and I can't do it.
I'm a big, I like to work out. Like, so I'm the type that I start to go down this, I try to eat clean. I kind of follow 80-20. I do intermittent fasting just naturally. I don't do it because it's what I should do. It's just because I don't get hungry. And then when I do get hungry, I eat a lot. And then I'm done. So that's just kind of what I do. I try not to eat too much before I go to bed. It just seems smart. That's how I am. But I live kind of by that 80-20 where 20% of the shit I eat is bad.
I totally ate all the onion rings and French fries yesterday, and it was delicious.
Right. So I don't have a problem eating good food, but my thing is I'm addicted. Like I have a pool now. This first pool I've ever had in my life, like personal pool. And I swim every day if I can. I'll swim for 20 minutes, a half hour.
A heated pool? Like you get cold weather up there. So.
Well, yeah, but it's right now, like I've learned that I can tolerate about 70-degree water.
Yeah.
Once I get going, as long as I get swimming pretty quick, like it's cold, I could probably drop it down to maybe 68. That's about as cold as I'm going to let it get. But my water's already 74 degrees, so it's perfect right now. Like honestly, when I get in and get going, like I love it.
Your pool 74?
Yeah. Yeah, my pool 74. Yeah, today it was 74.
I put my feet in today and I was like, oh, I don't know about that.
Yeah, I'm telling you, once you get going, but I'm doing it to work out. So like I have a snorkel, I'm tethered, and
Oh, you really do it.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I got like a bungee tether that I wear. It's a swimming tether.
What are you training for?
Life. Nothing.
Oh, it's just your exercise. You're not training for like a triathlon or some swimming thing.
No, I'm still in the military, so my fitness level has to be up.
That's right.
I got to do at least be able to run 2 miles, push-ups and sit-ups. But as far as my sergeant gig goes for where I work, I sure as shit ain't dealing with the public, so I don't really need fitness for what I do anymore.
If I had a regret in life of something I wish I would have done in life that I didn't, it would have been serving in the military somehow. When I was in law school, I was gonna do JAG as my way to contribute, and then I met my husband and I moved to Texas. So
hell yeah, brother.
His fault. And then I started having kids. But yeah, I feel like my SWAT years were, I don't want to say lost, because I feel like I served my community in a good way. But maybe those were by the time I went through my 20s and went to law school and then started working at the law firm, and then I would go to this law firm and people started giving me shit. I was like, dude, I'm done with you. Like, I've done shit. Like, I'm not putting up with your shit.
Yeah.
Like I worked at a firm for a while, and I wanted to work with cops really bad. Like, after a while, I'm like, okay, I can't stand this. I just want to work with cops. Went to work with a firm where they were defending cops and police departments, but more from a insurance carrier perspective, which I'd say don't do. And the guy I worked for is a complete turd. And after about 4 months, I was like, you know what? I want this job, but I don't need this job, and I am not putting up with your shit. So I quit and I started this. So it all works out.
I like it. Shout out to Shotguns and Tattoos. She's been with us for a long time. And you learn something new about your people all the time. And she said, I don't do healthy, but today is 6 months sober. So congrats.
Good for you.
Something to be proud of.
That is healthy.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Wow. Especially knowing that it was an issue for you. It is not an issue for me, so I'm having my drink right now. Actually, I should give a shout out to Tactical Tequila Podcast. I've been on it. Bridgette, you should be on his podcast.
I'll write that down. Wow.
Really good dude. I think he was into dignitary protection for a long time. Also military. Good dude. I can't remember his full background off the top of my head.
I don't only drink tequila anymore. I used to drink wine all the time.
He sent me this bottle about 2 weeks ago.
Is it good?
Oh, it's gone. I finished it in 2 weeks.
Oh, okay. That's the answer.
It's going to be hard to read, but it's called Don Vicente.
Oh.
I think the name of it is called Fuerte Reposado. So, it's one of those. He's a tequila connoisseur, and I like sipping drinks. So, I'm a big bourbon guy, and I do like tequila, but he always makes fun of me because I drink tequilas that have additives to them, I guess.
Oh, is that additive free?
Additive free.
Oh, exactly. I'm sold. That's what I drink.
Yeah. I didn't know that. You learn something new all the time.
Yep.
And he was
I'll try that one. Yeah. I'm going to reach out to him, and that's the tag, is he had me at additive free.
Yes. So I will, I'll link you guys. I'll do a group text, but shout out to the Tactical Tequila Podcast. Make sure you guys check him out. He does his questions very organized. Me, you know me, I freestyle. I had no agenda tonight. I was like, let's just talk. And look, we've had 0 pauses this whole time. We've already been going, an hour, almost hour and a half. So, So for me, I don't have preordained questions and all that stuff, but, he has very structured. His podcast is very structured, and it's like he asks really good questions. I think that's what I like. Is like he just thinks of stuff I wouldn't have thought to ask. So, and it probably frustrates my. This is why I like to do the live. I know I don't think of the best stuff to ask. I know that, so I depend on the audience. It's my cheat code.
I disagree with that. I think our first interview, the first time we chatted, I feel like we went almost 2 hours.
Oh, for sure. I can talk with the best of
them. Wait.
I
want to see if Freeman Keys said, most guys are turds, Bridgette. That's hilarious. That's not true, Freeman Keys. Not all of them.
Yeah, Marine Bloods. Do you have fasting stories? Share it on Discord. Yeah, guys, make sure you're joining our Discord. Give our mods a shout out tonight. We've got Twitchy Skitch out there. I saw her already. We've got Marine Blood. He's in the house, and then I believe Tim was on. I haven't seen him chat in a second, but I think he's still here. So 3 mods kicking ass for us behind the scenes. I don't know if Nat is on. I want to bring this topic up real quick. Sorry, Bridget. This has nothing to do with you at the moment. I have mods that run a lot of our stuff across all of our social media. And they will come up with rules for certain pages and stuff, guys. They have my blessing. So if they tell you a rule and you're like, does Erik know about this? I might not. But guess what? I'm not running the page. They are. So I am a person that will let my people run and do what they think needs to be done. And if it becomes a problem, then we'll talk about it and we'll fix it or figure out why they did what they did and then put that out there. But until then, quit trying to jump their shit for just trying to make the pages successful. It is what it is. I call it good or bad. I've reached a point where I can't keep up with the comments anymore. I get what I can. People will point out things they want me to answer that somebody else may have asked, and I'll do my best. But we have a good problem. We have 500,000 plus followers across all of our platforms.
Good for you.
I can't keep up. So it is what it is.
Yeah. I can't keep up anymore either.
You know, and we're growing every single day. We grow and we grow. It's cool. It's a fun problem to have. It means we're doing the right thing. I think the main reason why we are growing is because of the audience we have. You guys ask tough questions. You're fair. You're balanced. And, you know, some of you couldn't stand police when you first started with our page. And we gave you a shot as far as answering your questions and trying to have actual discussion. And now we've got a lot of people that aren't necessarily pro-cop, but at least they're willing to have conversations and call me on my bullshit. Because sometimes I'm on some bullshit and I don't realize it. And they call me out. So... all right. End rant. Yes. Shout out to Harrison Brock. He's in the house too. I didn't see him over there. He goes, how did you forget me? I'm sorry, Harrison. I didn't even see you chatting over there yet today. So my bad. Tim said, I'm here. He said, Grandpa. Too funny. My bad. Oh, here's a question too. Bridget, ever arrive first to a call and receive no respect because you are a female? Did you work to get it? Or sorry, it's moving.
Right,
Did you work to get it or just didn't matter to you?
I am boss so many times. Now, granted, I was in patrol for a year and then I went to undercover narcotics. So that is a different perspective. So I'm buying crack. I bought crack for a living for 3 years. And so they either, hopefully they didn't know I was a cop, or when I came into the room, they had all kind of special words for me once they realized I was the one that got them busted. But when I was in patrol so many times, one time I pulled up to somebody's house, they called 911 and we showed up, and the person who opened the door was like, I'm in full uniform. Granted, I'm 5'5" and whatever I weigh. And again, I'm not going to share that information. And but I had all the typical Florida dark green, 40 pounds of gear on my belt, Glock and all. And he opened the door and he says, "You're the sheriff?" And I said, "Well, I'm the deputy sheriff." And he said, "Sheriff lets you wear that uniform?" And I said, "Yes, he does. What can I do for you?" One time, we had a policy where if there was a disabled vehicle or a DAV on the side of the road, we required, if we were in our cars, we could drive our cars off duty, but no matter what, if you couldn't pass a DAV. So we had to pull over. One time I pulled over, same thing. I walked up to the car and I said, "Hey, is there anything I can do to help?" And he goes, "Sheriff lets you drive that vehicle?" And I said, "Yes, he does. How could I help you, sir?" But I've certainly had a lot of other colorful versions of "What the fuck are you doing here, you fucking girl?" Just fucking get away. When this fucking cop's gonna get here? Full uniform. Fuck you. All the ways you can say that from men and women, and all the time. But I would say, and I would always say, "Yes, I am. What can I do? And what can we do?" Or you just respond and pivot and shift. And certainly if I needed to call for backup, I would. I wasn't always by myself in a zone. Thankfully, pretty quick, I got the zone I liked, which was that I was always in the hot happening crack areas. And which meant I wasn't in the rural, like very quiet, no lights anywhere places. But yeah, I had a lot of that, a lot.
Yeah.
Even in undercover, like I would walk in, like even undercover, like they would be like, "You're the cop." I'm like, "Is it my badge and gun that gave it away?" Or, I mean, yeah, a lot.
I've always been. It's because of my upbringing. I grew up in Flint, so Flint, Michigan, and I prefer when I work as a street cop, I like the hood areas. I can talk to people better. I feel like I do more. I help people more than if I'm working in, because of the city that I work in, there are some very rich areas that I have no experience in my life. And I feel like I struggle in those types of places because their worries are not my worries. However, I understand the worries more in the hood, and I can do better. But I will get kind of, I'm not going to compare myself to how female officers have experiences, but I will get stuff as a white boy sometimes in the hood and get called, oh, here comes Boy Scout, here comes this, here comes that. And immediately go into my roast mode, and I just start roasting whoever's talking, and it gets the respect. When I was in the streets, it would get me the respect I needed pretty quick. And so I just liked. I felt more comfortable. I felt like I could relate to people better, and it was more fun for me personally. It was more fun. I felt like I was actually helping people more, helping them see that not every single officer that comes out there doesn't know what the fuck's going on and kind of understands where they're coming from. But it takes a minute. It does not happen. Like you said, it doesn't happen instantly. You got to kind of win them over. And I have seen that with female officers where it's, when does it stop that you have to, when you've won everybody over? I don't think it ever happens for females. I feel like for females, it's on both sides. You're constantly having to prove yourself to the cops that you've never worked with.
100%.
And then you've got to prove yourself to the people in the street that don't think females should be cops.
When I had competed in that SWAT competition the second time, same guys. I mean, obviously the first year was 2 teams, second year was 1 team, but one of the guys that had competed, we had done it 2 years together. He comes up to me after the second year, and my maiden name's Baragona, and he comes in and he goes, "Baragona," and he gives me DAP. He goes, "I tell you what, Baragona, you got it." And I literally, like, it could have been a compliment, but on the other hand, I was like, "You motherfucker. Like,
right.
We've been on SWAT together for 2 years. I've done this training shit with you for like 12 of the last 24 months. What?" Yeah. And like, what is that DAP for? I mean, like, thank you and fuck off. I mean, so
I don't think he meant anything bad by it, but he probably didn't see how you would see it.
No, he did. And I know he meant it. And he's one of the few that when I quit everything, like when it got to the point where I wanted to literally, I wasn't going to burn all the cars and walk away, but that's what I felt like at the end. Well, when I decided that I wanted to get off SWAT team and narcotics all at the same time, because I'd had it, I went to my captain and I was like, I'm done. I want, switch me back to patrol, and I want day shift like tomorrow. And he's like, "You got it." And one of the guys, he came up to me after and he's like, "I'm sorry, you got a raw deal." And in a sense, like, in one hand, like, thanks for saying that. I appreciate that you recognize it. But on the other hand, you were in the room with all of them and you never stood up for me. And that hurt a lot. So like, I can be tough as shit, but I can also be the same person that cries over on this, pulls over on the side of the road and cries so hard. Like, I literally pulled over on the side of the road in my undercover car and was crying so hard I couldn't see, so I couldn't drive, because I was like, this is never going to fucking matter. Yeah. And so that sucks, because I ended up quitting. And but it is what it is, and the job is what it is, and the egos are what they are. And that's what I say, going back to that earlier question of what do you think about women being in law enforcement? Like, you better be fucking ready, because it just is. You're not going to change it. Don't expect like fluffy, gentle cushion, whatever. And you can still do the job. And I think you can still play an important role in the job, but like it's apples and oranges, and don't expect to be coddled, and nor should you be coddled. I don't believe you should be coddled. As an employment lawyer, somebody says, well, they were mean to me. Like, and like, I mean, like somebody's about to die. Go fucking guard that corner and do your job, like do your job. And then we'll talk about it later. But, and granted, people break the law all the time. And that's where I come in. But like, it's a fucking hard job, and you get fucking hard personalities, and it doesn't always make it illegal.
Yeah. Lawful Acts 1955 said having jokes as a skill prevents far more fights than they start. I would 100%. I will tell you, you want to know the secret to the most of my career is making jokes, usually probably inappropriate. If I'm going to be honest, if anybody ever does a FOIA on me and pulls body cam, like it's probably what the majority of you're going to be like, oh, that's how he de-escalated. That's how he was verbal judoing, because I was just a joke guy. Like, and that's how I got by. I just try to make people laugh. Because at the end of the day, for me, if I'm not taking this job personal, like I shouldn't be, it should just be it's business. So for me, if I'm got front row tickets to the best show on earth, is the way I saw it. Well, fuck, I'm gonna have fun. Let's. You're having the worst moment of your life, and you've called us. That's how I know it's a bad moment for you. I see cops every day. You see them once, hopefully, in a lifetime, maybe twice. Who knows? So if I'm gonna show up, I'm gonna try to at least get you to smile. If I can get you to smile, I'm winning. I'm going to try to de-escalate the best I can. If I can't get you to smile, there's two things going on. One, I was inappropriate and I was an asshole and it didn't come across the way I intended. Or two, you're up to something and you're not thinking, and I got to be on my toes. And that's another way that I would use it, to be ready. Because if I'm like, hey man, real quick, I was like, I got to pat you down. You ain't got any nukes on you or anything like that, right? I'm hoping to get come on, man. I ain't gonna nukes, like something like that. If I get I don't know, I'm like, all right, I gotta be on my toes. So it's a little pressure test. So that's
mine was, if I was always called to pat down the chicks, and they would say, I would always say, do you have anything that's gonna poke me, cut me, or stick me? And because you like some of the girls, and I remember one time I pulled this girl's bra out, and I don't remember, a couple knives came out, like
holy shit.
And she was the one who gave me the most colorful cuss words I had ever been given in my life. So yeah, I was like, you have any, that look they give you when they're like, you just know they have it. I'm like, oh, I don't have enough gloves for this. Yeah.
I can tell you some nasty fucking stories from church.
Don't even. I think I almost got written up one time I took a girl to jail, and they found something in her special area, and they were going to write me up for not finding it. And I was like, if that's what this job is, fucking fire me now. No, I'm done. No.
Quick shout out to Carmela out in Nashville. She said, wanted to say hi. I'm sure it'll be a great podcast. I love your show. Hello to Banning too. But when it comes to searching, I knew something was in a spot. I wasn't going to go get it. It was a female.
Yep.
So when they did pull it and got it, let's just say the entire booking area stunk so bad, I was dry heaving. It was the most god-awful smelling thing in the world. I still, to this day, I can smell it right now.
No, we should just stop. We should all. Yeah. Anybody who's been in the job is like, no, please.
Oh
stop.
my God.
Just recalling. Nope.
Yeah. Let's just say it was narcotics in a pill bottle.
Nope.
Oh, it's horrible. There's two things in my life that if I picture, one was smelling salts, because I passed out. I shouldn't say I got knocked out in hockey, and they used smelling salts. A slap shot hit me in the earpiece. Knocked me out, and they use smelling salts. I can still smell that to this day. Smelling salts are a real thing, y'all. Mr. Billfold said, I don't know what he's talking about, but he said, Erik is far too busy with the empire building to bother with emotes. Erik, delegate that to one of these sweaty mods. My bad. Let's see. Oh, my mom's on here. What'd she say? If I'm ticked off at you, you'll never get me to smile. I won't even want to be in the same room with you. Challenge accepted, Mom.
Oh, you're gonna smile with your baby boy. I got a baby boy sleep in the next room.
Yep. Good luck. If I can break my Ginger, my daughter, who is probably got the feistiest attitude of any person I've ever met in my life.
How old is she?
She's 14. So
God bless.
yeah. Prime anger face.
When she gets mad. A 15-year-old and an almost 14-year-old daughter. Yeah.
Yeah, she'll come out of her room. Like, she's very much daddy's girl, wants a hug. Whenever she sees me, sometimes she walks into the kitchen and I'm like, "What's up, Ginge?" Because it's just a nickname. I always call her Ginge or Ginger. And I'll just get, like, that's all she'll do. I'm like, oh, we're in a mood. And I'm like, oh, now I'm going to press because I'm that type of dad. I'm like, oh, come give me a hug. Dad, no. And she's pushing on me. Yeah. And I'll force it. I'll keep fucking with her. And she's like, Dad, stop. And she'll fucking freak out. And I'm like, hey, then I go dad mode. And I'm like, you don't yell at your dad like that. And she'll be like, well, I'm not in a good mood. And you keep pressing me. And And I'm like, I'll keep doing this with my eyes. And then I'll see her start to smirk. And she's like, don't make me smile. I don't want to smile right now. Yeah. And then she starts laughing. And I'm like, I win.
Yep.
So, yeah. So fun. So fun. Wade said, women shouldn't be street cops, mostly because of physical, but they are smarter than we are and make great CIA, FBI agents, and they have a ruthless need for that type of work. Okay. I think that's a generality.
Yeah. So. I agree with the value and I disagree with the street cop statement for everything I said earlier. I think they have a lot. They can bring a lot, especially to victims. And you have a lot of victims and a lot of calls. You don't always go to fight people. And I think that you show up for people for what they need. And as long as women show up understanding that that's what they're going to get, and then I think they can play their role. But again, understanding everybody's strengths and weaknesses is where good leaders and sergeants and above come in.
Yeah. I think it goes into the work that here's my problem with police work. So we're going to piss some cops off right now. Y'all want this to be a profession. I think that's fair. Everybody says it's a profession. Most cops want it to be treated like a white-collar profession. They think they should get paid white-collar prices because of all the training that they continuously have to get, and they should be professionals for all the different hats that they wear. But in my experience, you guys half-ass the training that you get. You're doing just enough so you can just get signed off and get a check mark. You do zero prep work that's required for a white-collar job or profession. What does a doctor do to become a doctor? They have to go to a bunch of schooling, and then they have to do, I don't know the terms for it, but residency or clinicals or whatever the shit is that they do to go try to be a doctor. And then they go through their doctor stuff. And then lawyers go to school, they prep, they have to do well in high school. They've got to study English and do all these things. And they go to college, they do regular college, and then they got to go through law school. And they got to do all those steps, and they got to do their clinicals, which is fake, jury shit or lawyer stuff, whatever it is. You guys get where I'm going. You know where I'm going with this. So they do the work that it requires to have a white collar job and call it a true profession. But police don't. What prep work did you do other than getting your high school diploma? Or maybe you had a 2-year degree. There's not many departments that require even a 4-year degree, which doesn't make you a good cop. It has nothing to do with police work. Got me on a rant now. So here's the other problem. You're going to get in a fight being a fucking cop, and you know that. And you did nothing to get prepped for that. How many of you have done any grappling, boxing, judo, fucking kids karate, anything? I don't care. Just did something. None of you. And I'm being general here. Most of you did nothing. How do I know? Because I trained you fuckers, and you don't know shit. And you think you do because you got a gun and a badge, and you think that you're ready for the streets. And as soon as somebody puts you on your ass, what do? You go to your gun, your Batman belt, because you didn't put the time in like all these other professions did, and now you want to be a professional. I'm sorry, you didn't do the work to get into this profession. It should be a profession. Some people do it, and if females do it, more power to it. Like I'm on board with a female as much as a male that did the work to get there. But more often than not, it's not a male-female thing. Most of you in law enforcement didn't do the work that's required to be a profession. You signed up for a job. And there's a difference between a job and a profession.
Well, and I think that's very scary if anybody's doing that. Because I look at the job as like, if you're becoming a cop, like that's a choice. You're not saying like, I'm going to go make some money, so let me go work at Target and make some money. You're choosing a job where you could get killed, and you're required for protecting human life. So, and I'm probably being too Pollyanna-ish about that. But I two things. One is, one of the people say, why'd you become a cop? Nobody in my family's ever been a cop before. I chose it. I joke around and say I watched G.I. Jane and I thought it was cool. And I'm also dating myself because G.I. Jane came out when I was young.
I love G.I. Jane.
So I thought that's cool. So I'll be her. And and there was definitely times I wish I would have said that to my supervisors. But I joke. That's not, but I also thought, well, that's cool. Like I'm working out now in my early 20s. Like I'll choose a job that requires me to be fit. So let me choose. And I think, oh, law enforcement, maybe that's it. And I thought maybe FBI, DEA or something like that, and chose law enforcement, sheriff's office for it to get there. And then realized you do not need to be fit at all to be a cop, which is ridiculous. I saw somebody posted earlier in the chats that, and Dominic Izzo does highlight this a lot about cops who are not just not in shape to be cops. And it's awful. And I'm not judging anybody that is out there that's not fit. I'm just saying, why would you do that to yourself or to your family? Because it is a job where either you're going to try and fight or run, and you can't do it, and you can't save somebody, or you can't prevent the crime. And maybe you can't prevent a robbery. Like, what's the harm in that? But maybe you can't prevent somebody being hurt or killed, or you go to try to do that and you get yourself hurt or injured or worse, and then that's your family that suffers for that. Why would you do a job where you can't keep up with that part? And I just don't understand that. I also don't understand the ridiculously low physical standards that law enforcement requires. We made a point when my agency, one of the SWAT guys did the whole thing backwards, like jumping over a fence backwards, going over the whole, and came in under the required time.
Making it a joke.
What a joke it was.
Yeah.
And so I do not understand that at all. And hiring people who are just severely overweight, what are you hiring them for? How are you protecting people? How are they going to be able to fight? Fighting is about stamina if you really have to do it. Sprinting, running, protecting is about stamina. I don't understand it. So that part, but I just, that's I'll get off mine. That was me. That was my tangent from what you said.
I like it.
But for women, it's this, it's the same. Women, there is no different standard. I saw somebody post earlier, Bridgette, they lowered standards for women since you've been in. That's ridiculous. I don't agree with that at all. It is one standard. You either can do the job or you can't, male or female. I don't give a shit. And
just that standard needs to be higher.
Yeah. For everyone. I passed the same SWAT standard, and I'm not saying everybody needs to be SWAT. And that is an elite level. I'm saying you need to be able to protect the public. And if you can't put your uniform on, how on earth? I remember one time we had a guy and he was so big, and I told one of the guys I worked with, I said, he's stressing the structural integrity of his uniform. There's no way he can run because it'll rip off. It's just too tight.
Yeah, I love it. I want to point out, get to some of these comments. Ryan, I see Ryan Lands is in the house. He said, the irony is the better a cop looks physically, the safer I'd feel that he's not going to be gun first. It's possible, but that's not necessarily true. I'm glad it makes you feel better, but Bridgette will tell you, I've seen some guys that I'm great that you can push a lot of weights. 30
Brawn
seconds
does
into a
not
fight,
equal
they're
brains.
gassed. Yeah, they're
Well,
gassed.
definitely that. Right. Strong does
Yeah.
not equal cardio, and those things definitely don't equal brains.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah.
And then Rin, HWD, Rin, I don't know what that means, but Rin said, bro, what police force are you talking about? Sure, you can be a cop, but just having a goddamn high school or a GD, I think he means a high school diploma.
Yeah.
I think. But you still need to pass physical and mental fitness test, attend a basic police academy. Okay, great. You passed a basic police academy. That is not
basic police
not a
academy
degree.
test is a joke.
It's not hard.
I don't remember having to do that actually for my police academy.
Yeah.
I know when I applied for like the FBI, I had to do that physical test. One of them. I applied for some federal agency. That one seemed harder. I don't remember. Surely I did, but it was so unmemorable. I don't remember doing it.
Yeah. If you're just generally a normal, good person, it's not hard to get into a police academy. And if you paid attention, I was a C student. I did just enough to get by in high school so I could play sports. I was a social butterfly. I cared more about my friends than I did school. So I am by no means what you would call a genius. Did just enough to get by in high school. And I've been to 3 police academies, the military police, a police academy for when I was a cop in Michigan, and a police academy down here in Texas. And I was an academy instructor. I am telling you right now, that's not a flex saying that you passed the police academy. It's that the standard is us as cops are always saying that we should be at a higher standard. And you want to flex that you passed the academy. Big fucking deal. You did 40 hours worth of control tactics. Great. Yeah. Now you think you can handle the world on the ground or in a fight?
I mean, even at the lawyer level, I know I'm not trying to sound all whatever. Whatever you think what you want, I don't give a shit. I mean, I care. If you want to tell me. But just because you're a lawyer doesn't mean you're good or smart.
Right.
Just like, what's that say? Yes, Bridgette, but the standards. Oh, that's what I was saying about Freeman Keys earlier. Yeah, I agree that not just women. So it may. Wait, I missed it.
He said, yes, Bridgette, the standard. I'm reading this out loud because some people just listen to the podcast later. Yes, Bridgette, this comes from Freeman Keys. Yes, Bridgette, but the standards have been lowered for all cops, not just women. So it seems it makes it easier to justify using force for out of shape men. And I agree. I think that's what we fall on. I was at my end. And so I had to go to this. Well, why were you at your end? Oh, because you weren't physically fit, because you didn't take the time to learn how to defend yourself like you should have done in a profession that you're going to get in a fight. It's just going to happen.
I'm a member of a lot of, I mean, I haven't in a while because I've gotten busier, but look at the comments that people post in different Facebook groups, and people would say like, I'm going to try it I'm thinking of going to the academy. What should I do to get ready? I'm having a hard time on the physical requirements, and that below for the academy. If you can't meet the physical requirements of an academy, holy crap.
Yeah.
I think it's a very good goal and everybody could get there, but I just can't, that's scary to me. I want to go back. Somebody just said something about workers' comp, which, in my state, I'm not aware of any agency having a physical fitness test after the academy. Sorry, at Project 1868. The private workers' comp won't allow it. As an attorney brain, I'm exploding. What do you mean
Project,
the workers' comp won't allow it? That blows my mind. And if anybody in your state is I want to talk to anybody who's having workers' comp problems in your state. And I don't do workers' comp, and but I do assist on like evaluating issues as it relates to that, because there can be a lot of people interpreting things wrong because they think they know the law and they don't, which includes cops, by the way. Let's not even get started on Brady Giglio issues, which if you're not in the law enforcement world, maybe you don't know what that is. But cops thinking they know all the laws and, this guy's Brady Giglio, so I'm going to write this down in his file and report it. And then this guy is so stupid. Anyway, that's another topic.
My mom said He kept his grades up for sports and his wife. That's it. He aced everything in his bachelor's and master's. She's not wrong. I did.
Oh, Mom. Listen, I want to tell Mom I'm sorry I'm cussing so much. If I knew Mom was here, I probably wouldn't be cussing.
She's so used to it.
Okay. Well,
Which is funny because my mom doesn't curse a whole lot. She will. She's pissed, especially, but yeah, she doesn't curse.
Oh, I had my kids in the car today, and I was so frustrated. I was like, I'm so frustrated. I want to cuss right now, but I won't do that in front of my kids.
I was listening to 3-6 Mafia with my kid, dropping her off to her violin or viola lesson today. I was like, you gotta listen to some Project Pat while we're getting amped.
Well, listen, my husband teaches them all the cuss words, so I figure there's a balance somewhere.
Yeah, I grew up listening to rap. I love rap. All the old school stuff, 3-6 Mafia, Project Pat, all those guys. I love it. So, shout out to those guys. Not that they're listening to my podcast, but you never know. Okay, where was I at? Lawful Acts said, agencies also don't mandate the training needed to have cops operate at the level the public wants them to. Part of the problem with that, Lawful, is something I want you to consider. Think of all the hats the public wants us to wear. Mm-hmm. That's another problem. They want us to be the jack of all and the master of all at the same time. They want us to be martial arts experts. They want us to be psychologists. They want us to be
therapists.
They want us to be marksmen. They want us to be mechanics. They want us to be able to fix kids' bikes. They want us to be expert at all mental health issues, to know all the different kinds. If it's whether it's autism to crisis intervention because they're having a, what do they call it? Excited delirium, or
I don't know what you just said.
Yeah. There's all these different things that they want us to have to be good at, be masters of, and
medical. You need to be slightly medical diagnosis because you need to know if somebody's drunk or in a some type of diabetic issue. Yeah. Like, is their breath sweet? Like, I don't know. Did they just have a pina colada?
My first fight ever was with a diabetic person having sugar was too high, I think it is. I thought he was drunk. And apparently the smell that I smelled was ketones or whatever. Right. And again, I had a grappling background well before I became a cop, but I engaged with this guy, and it was the weirdest fight, if you will, because he was fighting me. He did try to
Your mom just tattled on you.
But yeah, exactly. But he tried to, like, it was like fighting Gumby. Like, there was no real resistance, but he wasn't fighting back. It was odd. So I got him to the ground, and I just kind of like put his hands behind his back. I was like, what the fuck is going on? And got him in cuffs. And luckily there was a nurse right there because it was inside of a building. He was causing a problem with other people. And they were like, the nurse was like, I think he's having a diabetic issue. And I was like, oh shit, glad I didn't hit this dude because I didn't know what I was doing. Yeah. And that's what it was. He was having a diabetic issue. So yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. What were we just talking about? I had another point. Mandating training, having cops operate. Jack of all, master of none. Back to Lawful Acts 1955. I think that is probably one of the problems with policing is they want us to be masters at all these things, and then they provide what, Bridgette? A 40-hour training. That's like the fix for everything. Well, we gave them 40-hour training. They should know it now. That's not true.
I think that, like we had mandatory trainings, defensive tactics, driving, usually some type of mentally impaired person's training. But I think they only got that in the academy. I don't remember that. I mean, maybe things have changed now, and you could tell me because I've been out a long time. No one is asking for Ella's best friend. They won't. They want.
Yeah, I was going to read that after you. I'll read it out loud right now.
Gosh, do it.
Yes. Yeah. So Lacey said, no one is asking for Ilios to be a master at mental health. They just don't want you to be, or they just want you to be able to recognize it before you shoot their kids. And I think that's a fair statement. I think that's a good point.
It's a fair statement, and also scary. I don't want to say scary, like, and in the moment. Certainly we can all think of scenarios where, I don't know, I don't want to say scenarios, but absolutely you don't want to ever shoot anyone. I don't want to say shoot a kid. Like, you don't want to shoot anyone. You don't want to shoot anyone. Thankfully, I never had to. I certainly have been in situations in SWAT and narcotics where there were 10 to 30 guns trained on somebody, and I know I was just begging, please let this not happen. And thankfully it didn't. And you also, that's the point, going back to the earlier conversation of, please get all the training you can possibly get throughout your entire career, because all the things that Erik just described, of all the things that you could know, there's no way that you can possibly digest and retain all of that if you're not continually educating yourself on it. And that's the scary part, is you think like, well, I did all right, I'm not doing it again. Or I did the DT training and the driving training, I'm good, I'm not doing that again. Now, oh, it's been 15 years since I've done that. I know that I don't need to do it again. I don't need to do CPR training again. I did that 20 years ago. Well, I can say I haven't had CPR training for a really long time. And every time I see something that I hear from friends or whatever that comes up, I'm like, oh my gosh, I should go do that again. Because I don't want to be the one that's called on and forgets it. I mean, you think like, is it right? Is it like riding a bike? I don't know, but it's just, you've got to do it all the time. And it is scary. The job is almost impossible. And it's just almost impossible.
You bring up a good point. One, I want to point out Ryan's comment, because he knows I make fun of these guys all the time, the TikTok cops. He said, cops need to be able to dance for all their TikTok channels too.
These cops that do this.
My favorite thing to do is, there's a couple guys that have retired from policing to focus on social media stuff that I'm friends with. One is Copville, and the other one is Tyler from the Anti-Heroes podcast. So what I'll do, if there's like, because I can't say things because I'm still a cop. I don't want to get in trouble at work. So I'll just tag those guys and be like, I tell them the same thing every time. Hey, come get your boy. And it's at like a cops TikTok channel where they're dancing and doing stupid shit that they shouldn't be doing as cops. But you bring up a good point about, I had CPR training 15 years ago. I had this training 15 years ago, whatever it is. Here's one that I want to blow your mind with, that we fail at police work. And you as a lawyer, if there's any way you can help improve policing, it's through this. How much constitutional training have you had since the academy? And even when you had it in the academy, how much did they even touch on the Constitution?
Okay, this definitely gets me. Oh, first of all, you get 4 hours maybe in the academy, depending on your academy.
Maybe a week for really good academies.
Maybe, yeah, constitutional law.
Yeah.
And then you never get it again.
Ever.
And maybe you go to a training later where they'll touch on some
Supreme Court rulings.
Case law stuff.
Case law shit. Yeah.
But usually given to you by a cop.
Yep.
And cops are not lawyers. Cops don't practice law. And cops do keep up with some, like, maybe search and seizure law or
use of force
law, things like that. But what really gets me is when I said earlier is cops like, well, I know like Brady Giglio. Brady and Giglio are two different U.S. Supreme Court cases that ultimately, to simplify it, because that's not law school, is a case where you have to turn over evidence that would help somebody defend themselves in trial, which means you have to turn over evidence like, this cop is bad. The cop who made this case is a liar. Like this cop lied, or this cop, whatever. If you have a cop that was involved in a case that brought evidence for a defendant at trial, then the defense has the right to say, well, we can't trust this evidence because that cop can't be trusted. So then it's up to the jury to decide. And so it's a U.S. Supreme Court case, which means it's not federal law, it's not state law, it's not city law, it's not county law, it's nothing. And so you get cops who are like, well, I think this is a Brady issue. And like, oh, you seem untruthful. And so I'm required to send a letter to the DA to say, you're a lying cop. And then these cops can never, and then the DA is like, oh, well, then I can never call you again if your agency thinks you're a liar. And then the cop can never work as a cop again. So that's my, like, I get on that pedestal because it drives me crazy when cops think they never get training on case law, including Brady Giglio. And then on one hand, you have leadership who will ruin people's careers. And on the other hand, you don't really like warrant and seizure stuff is it's like, it's not complicated, but it's not necessarily simple. And so, yeah, you don't get enough of that. And I mean, arresting people, and it's more, I would say, like the example we gave earlier of the guy coming in and grabbing the girl, like giving her a ticket on her porch. She threw the ticket down, like some people may have missed it, where he went on the porch, gave the girl a ticket. She snacked the ticket away and threw it down on her porch. And then he got mad about that and said, you littered, and went to go grab her arm, technically pulled her out of her house. Like, you can't do that. So also but that's a very fast moving situation. Also, and so I definitely want to acknowledge, and the U.S. Supreme Court regularly acknowledges, that law enforcement is always in a very fast-moving situation. So as long as you don't escalate too far, then you could be okay, just depending on the situation. But that's a long answer, Erik. And no,
Yeah.
the short answer is cops definitely do not get enough constitutional law training. Some of them do, but depending on what courses they go to. And then it always makes me nervous when I see case law trainings being given by cops. No offense, but
no, I'm with you.
Just is.
Because inevitably what happens is cops will ask questions. Well, what about this? What about that? I've been in this situation, and now you're getting the answer of a cop. You're not getting the answer of a lawyer. And
right.
That's in
Not
law.
mentioning the fact that you're dancing into the practicing law without a license landscape.
Right. Yeah. It's a whole other ball of wax. And there's so many laws out there and so many ways to incorporate. Lawful acts was talking about Canton v. Harris. And if I remember Canton v. Harris, I think that basically puts the liability of training on the department. That they should, if an officer fails to do or does something wrong and they weren't properly trained, if I remember that correctly. I think that's what that one involves. And then cops, Mr. Billfold, cops keep up with Terry versus Pennsylvania, or Terry and Pence for Pennsylvania versus Mims, absolutely. When they feel it is beneficial for them to exercise authority. I do think Pennsylvania versus Mims is so abused. And if you're not familiar with that one, Bridget, that's where if it's a lawful traffic stop, we can have the driver exit the vehicle. And I think it's Maryland v. Wilson is what allows us to get the passengers out. And the whole premise of, and again, I'm not a lawyer, but the whole premise was about safety. The cop wanted the guy out of the car because he thought he saw a gun or something in the vehicle. Mm-hmm. That was the premise. But the courts didn't rule that it has to be because of a safety reason. And so cops kind of have carte blanche to get people out of the vehicle. But I think the spirit of that was based around safety. So when I train cops, I'm like, listen, if you're going to take somebody out of the vehicle, you better have a safety reason behind it. I see the handle of this. He keeps reaching down and fidgeting with that. Whatever it be, that's how you're going to exercise Pennsylvania v. Mims. Not just because, you pissed me off, so now get out of the vehicle. Oh, you wanted to crack your window? Get out of the vehicle. Like,
right.
It gets abused.
I think it's all, reasonable suspicion. What you can articulate. Either you can articulate you believe that they committed some type of crime, misdemeanor in your presence, or felony for something that the person you think committed a felony, or obviously for safety. Then yes, but it's all about what you can articulate, which means what you can write in your report as your CYA.
This is a good question. This says, Ryan was asking, scary thought, but do you think AI might help cops correctly interpret laws fast on the job? Yeah, I do. I think that is the future of where this is going. I think AI is going to be a dependent tool in law enforcement. 100%.
Absolutely. And I mean, to the point where, have you seen that movie Mercy with,
yes. Oh my God, it's so good.
Something like that, where your computer is going to be analyzing what the facts are and what the laws are and what's happening so fast. It's almost going to be like, wait, Mercy lady, slow down. Let me just hear what you just said. And also, I will say this as your lawyer. I'm not your lawyer. I'm not anybody's lawyer on this call, just so you know. But as somebody who knows case law, because I'm not your lawyer, just to be clear, if you are inputting case call information into an AI source, please make sure you have a paid account for that. not a free account. Okay.
Correct.
Everyone listening.
Yeah.
Everyone
Yeah.
listening. Okay. So that's all I'll say on that.
Yeah. I will tell you why, because when you're on a free account, that information is not yours. Whatever you put in there goes to everybody.
Which is public information, which is discoverable.
Yes.
But I'm just saying.
This was I like this. I am boss, because I'm going to push back on you on this one, buddy. I've agreed with you for a lot of what you said today, but I don't hear. City attorneys still continue to back the police in false charges and only seem to back off at the last moment, if at all. I disagree. It depends, because there's a lot of politics involved with city attorneys. So that is where I'll push back. If you got a pro-police city, then yeah, I think a lot of times they tend to give the cops benefit of the doubt. If you've got a Minnesota city, I will say they're looking for reasons just to hem the cops up. Even like, there's a reason it's very hard to get cops.
Just shocking too, because like Minneapolis, those cops make a lot of money.
But they have to offer a lot of money to get anybody.
And then they throw them under the bus every chance they get.
Yeah.
So that's kind of weird.
Yeah.
Mr. Bill Falls, I don't understand. Wrong, Bridgette. That was not fast moving. That was used to force absent a crime. You'll have to explain that to me. I don't understand.
I don't see it.
I don't know. I can't.
I see it. He said, wrong, Bridgette. That was not fast moving. That was a use of force absent a crime. Mr. Billfold, tell us what you're talking about. I think we probably moved past whatever that was, so I don't know what that was about. Yeah, AI is a powerful tool. Not utilizing it in most career fields, you'll be left behind. Agree. Guys, you see my thumbnails and everything. I'm using it for the podcast. I'm using it for work. I'm using it for everything. I am a tech nerd. You guys know that. We've had the LPR talk on here several times. I'm a big fan of LPRs. I think as long as it's backed in good policy, it's not retaining information, it's not selling that information out to anybody outside the agency, I think it's a good tool. Can it be abused? Yes. Does it need to have good checks and balances? 100%. I think where I'm at, we have really good policy where all of our videos, city cameras, can't hold anything longer than 5 days. And then that stuff's purged. And then as our LPRs, those are only in public roadways, in public spaces, and that information is only kept for 30 days, and then it's purged. And we don't sell our information to anybody. Everything's kept in-house. So I think that's where good policy comes in, but can it be abused, and can it become a problem? Yes. So you have to keep those checks and balances. But what I really love about technology now, these days, guys, you can't do shit. If somebody does something wrong and somebody finds out about it, everything is logged. You have to have your own unique identifier to get on them. You have to have your own unique identifiers to even use the systems in most cases that I know of. So that's why I like tech. It's a double-edged sword. You may be able to do some dumb shit with it if you're a corrupt cop, but it's going to be the nail in your coffin, I promise. Let me go to the next one here. Saying AI hallucinates as a reason to not use it is silly. Any method you use to find information can be incorrect, and that's why it makes a tool and not a Bible. Agree. Yes. Yep. If you're going to be using the stuff, it is not, I don't ever think, I think we talked about this case on here before, but there was a situation where somebody got arrested based on a facial rec. They said it was 100% that person, so they went and arrested him without doing any other research. And I don't think that's right. I think that doesn't give you PC for shit. It gives you a reason to keep looking and finding other ways to get your PC, but it's not PC to go arrest somebody. So you got to be careful with that stuff.
Even as in my profession as an attorney, we're starting to get courses all the time, and even opinions from every state bar association about how we should use AI, even to the point where they're saying, like, if you're not using AI, it's almost unethical for our clients to make things more efficient. But that also, even like, of course, I'm never allowed, and nor would I, draft something for a client with not really verifying the facts and the citations and the case law. So, I mean, even all the way to the lawyers who are fighting and doing all the arguing and representing. I mean, it's everything, and it's inevitable. I really believe you just have to always, you still have a brain, and it's never, hopefully, going to replace our brains.
Yeah. I like this. He said, as Blue to Gold would say, it's legal education, not legal advice. I like it. Somebody, I thought we had somebody put in the chat a new person. I always like to say hi to new people. I think maybe it was Jane Rocket 2026 Yo Mama. That is a long name. Jane. But Jane said, I've communicated with a sergeant in Tukwila PD successfully, and Thurston County Sheriff seems cooperative, but I need help. I don't know what we're talking about.
I don't know if that means, you need my help. You should reach out.
Yeah. And then Twitch was thanking Driz for checking out the channel. Thank you very much. Very cool. Legal Fiction 1 said, I saw a false ID at a casino. That's the case we're talking about. The false ID at a casino. They showed a picture and the guy, and they looked nothing alike. Still got arrested. Humans didn't question the computer. And that's, if we've learned anything from Skynet, we need to question it and make sure that it's all makes sense. But
still a human.
Yeah. Okay. I got another video I want us to watch. Okay. So I'm going to share the screen. Here we go. And of course, I've seen these. You haven't. We're going to biggie size this here. And I just want to see what you got to say.
Cop tries to take away freedom of speech.
What's going on?
You're racing through Bricktown and you want to ask?
I wasn't racing. I'm recording everything.
Okay, that's good. License. I don't really care that you're recording everything.
Well, no, I know, but...
There are lots of people down.
Yeah, and we were doing the speed limit. And the reason why I turned down the street is because there's a turn-in. And I thought it went to that parking lot.
If that F-bomb comes out of your mouth one more time, you will be in the back of the car.
I'm not allowed.
That's not freedom of speech. Are you done?
Sure. Wait a minute. Are you saying I popped a wheelie? Because I didn't pop a wheelie.
I'm not arguing with you anymore.
I have it on camera. I didn't pop a wheelie.
Care.
Yes, you should care because I didn't pop a wheelie.
Turn around.
I did not pop a wheelie, and you know it. I got it on camera.
I want to write you a ticket. Keep on, man. Do you want to continue to argue?
No, I've never been pulled over like this, so I'm sorry for being upset.
Do you really want to go down this route?
No, I'm just...
Write it all out.
All right, from what I gather from this, there's a bunch of motorcycles cruising in some area.
All right. So I don't like going down my breakdowns. I like to deep dive into them. So I'll lead the charge on this one, Bridget. Kind of tell you what I went down. One, officers cannot be. This was in Florida, by the way. Officers cannot be offended. You don't have the right to be offended by language.
Nope.
So,
freedom of speech.
Yeah, unless there was a citizen standing there.
Unless you're inciting right.
Yeah, don't let him swear like that. Then maybe you have something, but
unless it's inciting violence, it's
right.
freedom of speech.
Yes. So she was 100% wrong on that part. So I pointed that out. I'm like, you can drop all the F-bombs you want. And then here was my real big hang up on all this. The dude's offering to show you video evidence that he didn't do what you're trying to point out that he did. Now, I'm a big proponent telling people not to argue with police. I like to make your objection known. Hey, I got it on video. Would you care to see it? If they're like, nah, fuck that. Or the cop's like, no, I don't care. I'm writing the ticket. Okay, cool. I made my objection on it. They gave you the opportunity to look at it. So now when we go to court, I'm going to destroy you. And that's going to be wonderful for that person. Now, it sucks that here's the considerations we as cops need to start caring about. And I think cops get callous to this point. We write tickets all day, every day across the country, right? That's what cops do. Not all of them. Not me. That's not my style, but that's what cops do in general. They write tickets, do calls, da-da-da-da. So if you're going to write tickets and it's going to become a part of you and what you do, and it's part of the job, you're going to get numb to it. It's going to be a normal thing for you. But to everybody else out there, this is where the emotional intelligence comes to play. They don't go through that every day. So they're not used to it. So they're going to be pissed off or feel some certain way about it. In that, you have to do the human thing about it and do your due diligence in an investigation. Don't take the lazy way out. I'm going to write it because your ego got involved and all of this stuff. The guy's willing to show you video. If you're about to write that ticket, what's going to happen to him? Insurance is going to go up. He's going to have to go to court. He's going to have to take time off work. Vehicle may get impounded. It's going to could cause some sort of strain with the fam, whether he's got a wife, kids, or maybe his mom. I don't know. There's a lot of things that's going to affect for him. What's it going to affect for you as a cop? Nothing. Your sergeant coming and be like, why'd you write this guy a ticket and not look at the camera? You should have done that. And then that's it. You're not going to get in real trouble. Let's be honest. You're not going to get shit. Even if you don't show up to court, you're going to waste that time. You're going to waste time for the taxpayers. There's all of these fallouts for some bullshit because you can take an extra 5 minutes to look at the guy's video because you don't like the fact that your ego got hit the moment he pushed back. Because what us as cops, I'm just talking all over the place because my brain's going 100 miles an hour. This is what happens when I get on a ramp. Us as cops, we're so used to people just complying and listening and doing what we say because that's 99.9% of the people we deal with. Listen to what we tell them to do. And when somebody pushes back, we're not ready for it, most of us. And that's that unmet expectation. As soon as cops get confronted with an unmet expectation, ego takes over. Every single time, it seems like. And we don't know what to do.
Agree. In that particular situation, one is, I tell people all the time, like if I represent somebody in like which I do often, an unemployment claim, I say, look, I'm going to tell you right now, these investigators are like traffic cops. All they do is they hear people get on here and bitch and complain for 45 minutes and they don't care. And they just want to, just bitch and bitch and bitch on both sides. So like, traffic cops you think about it. They hate you. You're getting pulled over. You're freaked out. Yeah, like, I'm usually trying to figure out how I can say I used to be a cop if I get pulled over. But generally people are like, I'm so sorry. I don't want a ticket, or what the fuck did you pull me over? Sorry, Mom. If your mom's still on this, I want to really stop messing. So cops, like they do get treated like crap constantly because you're afraid you're going to get, caught. It's going to cost you money, blah, blah, blah. The other side is, and that guy was like, wait, you're writing me for what? Like, I didn't do that. And if somebody had said to me, I wasn't speeding, like I would have said, well, I could prove you were speeding. That's why I pulled you over. But if I was pulling somebody over, and I pulled over people a lot, especially as I was trying to get in the narcotics unit, because I was trying to prove to them I could find weed on people, which nowadays would be dumb. Anyway, but I would try and pull people over, and then if they said like, no, I can prove this to you, which also 20 something years ago, video didn't exist back then. I would be like, you're a liar. What's this woo-woo video stuff you're talking about?
Right.
But now I'd be like, I wouldn't like it. And I'm sure that's what this cops are in. You're like, no, I'm right. But again, that's where you've got to, it comes back to keep training yourself, because in training, you're going to hear scenarios of how people mess up and you're going to think, oh shoot, I don't want to do that. So that's really, I think the biggest way for cops to avoid this is to hear other people's mistakes, unfortunately. Because you could say, oh, you can't do this according to the law, but then you get all riled up because somebody's rude to you. I remember one time I was in my patrol car, and I always went 5 to 7 over the speed limit like we talked about earlier, so I wouldn't just bog up traffic. And this guy just kept going past me, and I would go past him, and then I would slow it back down to 5, and he kept going past, and I'd slow. So finally I was like, dude, you're stupid. I pulled him over out, and I was like, I need license, registration, and insurance. And he's like, he gave me one of them. He's like, I don't have to give that to you. And I was like, yes, I can. Yes, you have to give that to me or you can't drive. And so he's like, he starts really arguing with me. And he's like, totally arguing with me. You can't pull me over unless I'm going at least 7 miles over the limit. I was like, also, that's not the rule in this state. So so we argue. And I was like, you know what, dude, I was going to write you a warning just to say, I was literally just going to pull you over to say, don't go faster than the cop. And now you're arguing with me. And now I'm going to go get my ticket. And I'm going to write you a ticket instead of a warning. And then he, becomes a complete bird. So my point of all that is that you can have people who it goes back to writing tickets. People are just such jerks. But also, if I was like, listen, I wasn't, or somebody's like, well, here's why I was trying to go faster than you because my wife's in labor. I would have been like, oh, well, follow me. I would have been a human about it.
Yeah.
But it's just that in that situation, I think she just got too caught up in, I'm pissed off, and couldn't let go of it. And I get that that's hard to do. It is hard to let go of mad. I felt that totally today with my teenager. And it was let go of mad.
Yep.
I decided just to her in a very calm language, and she knew what I was doing. And so I feel like also people that are cops should have teenagers and then become cops, and then they could practice having to get through that.
I've said it on here before. I don't think we should be cops until we're 25 or older.
Oh,
minimum.
I agree.
I honestly believe 30, but is what it is. I want to point out Tall Paul Photography. I haven't seen him on here, but he said that is very true about unmet expectations and their ego kicking in. I've never heard it explained that way. Excellent. It's not something that I made up, Tall Paul. It's actually the ego course that we teach at our academy. And Bridgette, you might not know this, but we put our ego class on as an episode. I had one of the external instructors that helped create the class, George. He came on and we taught the whole thing. And we actually released parts of that class on our YouTube channel for people to see. So cops can start understanding what ego is and when it kicks in, how to recognize it within themselves. And one of the best ways to recognize when your ego kicks in is when you have that unmet expectation. If you find yourself feeling some type of way on a comment or whatever it is, I would bet almost every time it's because you expected this reaction and you didn't get that. And you're like, and like the ticket with the lady we saw earlier, she took that and threw it on the ground. That cop expected her to take that and say, all right, I appreciate it. I'm going to go in my house now or whatever. And she didn't. She said, fuck this ticket. Fuck you. And then threw it on the ground on her porch.
Totally
and
legal.
he lost his ever-loving mind. He got triggered emotionally and went lizard brain and lost all of his frontal lobe, his logical and reasoning area of his brain. It is a physical and chemical reaction. So it's not just us talking psychobabble. There's science behind it. So we learned all that. And what we try to show at our academy, we want these officers to have all the tools available that they can have. And one is their triggers and understanding that if you practice this and you start to learn how you react to an unmet expectation, you do way better because you're prepared for it. Oh, shit. Okay, let me step back and let me reassess. What am I mad about? Okay, well, I wanted him to do this. He didn't do that.
But, you know, can I just add that that's like all of life? I mean,
it is.
And that's where I encourage people, like, when I say continue training in life, I mean, like, I've done yoga for years. And I know if you think that sounds cheesy, I don't care. Because it's truly made me a better attorney, wife, mom, everything, because it gives me a tool it took me years to realize that yoga was teaching me that. I'm also a certified yoga teacher, so I could really talk about it for a long time. But that doing all the trainings in life, like do the nutrition training, do the sleep, like learn about why sleep is important to you, learn about how, like more about that, like the triggers, but outside of the law enforcement, like don't get law enforcement credit, just go read a book about it or something, because that's where, in all the years of like yoga I've done or just exercise training I've done, is that it's taught me the ability to, one, recognize the trigger, but even harder to back down when I see the triggers happening. Like I can recognize I'm pissed off, but it's really hard to not be pissed. Like really hard. That's the harder part. And that's where it takes more of God willing self-control.
Yeah.
You know,
I don't know what it is about my personality. I don't get mad really that much.
Well, you don't put ego in what you do then. Is what I would say.
Yeah, I was going to say in life in general.
Uncertified therapist. Like you do what you do. You know, my husband's the same way. Sorry, I have a fly going around. He will, he has no ego tied to whatever he's doing. So if you don't like it, he doesn't care. He doesn't care. It's okay. I feel like that's why he can be married to me, because I'm a little bit that way. Or maybe a lot, I don't know. But I would be willing to guess that maybe you're that way too. Like you do what you do and you're okay with it and you can react how you react, but you're not going to react to that.
It's only for anger. Now, what I do get, I get emotional about a lot of other things though. Like this, I've got a lot of me wrapped up into this show.
Yeah.
So when I see people that aren't being trolls, I get. I don't even pay attention to trolls. That's not a big deal. But what does frustrate me, and I do take it to heart, and I shouldn't. Mr. Billfold gets on me all the time about this. Is I really want to help. I really want to. Like I said, I've probably put $60,000 to $100,000 into the show over the last 5 years. I'm really trying to do a good thing, and I really want to. And when I see, like, you know, again, we've got quite a few people that follow. I do see the same rhetoric over and over, you know, the blue gang line, or just people not trying. And it frustrates me, and I don't want to say it angers me, but it does frustrate me. And I'm just like, come on, like, come to the table and just talk. Don't throw out this lazy bullshit. And it's the same for the pure pro cops, the ones that just think cops can do no wrong. That's the other problem I have. I'm like, really? Like, you didn't look at this video and they're like, well, you didn't see the full, you know, like, you didn't see the full investigation. Like again, I go back to the Sonia Massey case. That's one of my favorite ones to talk about. You know, well, you didn't see that. You don't know what he saw, and you don't know this, and you don't know that. I'm like, listen, I've done this job a long time. Is there a factor that could be brought up that maybe I didn't see? Yeah, there's possible, but not likely. I'm just going to go off of that. So when I see this stuff, I get, that's one of the few times it's not an unmet expectation. It's that I have made this show, and me and my attempt to help, a part of me. And that is my own fatal flaw. And I know that about myself. But
yes, but do you take it personal with people? You don't take it personal when people don't agree with you. No, not at all. Tell me why you don't agree with me, and then we can have a great discussion. Okay, cool. Right.
Like, we just won't agree on that. Mr. Billfold, one of the guys that you see talking quite a bit, he and I go back and forth all the time. There's certain things that we just don't agree on, like the LPR situation. I don't know how he feels about LPRs necessarily, but there's a lot of people in the audience that we don't agree. We don't agree on ID too. I ask just about everybody for ID. And I get it. Cops have ID crack. Now, where the difference between me and a lot of officers is I educate people. That's my job. I feel like that's my job. You guys know I got an educator's mindset. That's just why I do what I do. So when I ask somebody for ID, I tell them, hey, you have no obligation to give me your ID right now, but can I get your ID for all the information that I got to get? If they tell me, and I'll tell them, you can tell me to go fuck myself, and I can't, there's nothing I can do about it. But I educate people when they need to ID me and when they don't. Or when they need to give me their, not ID me. I'll give you my ID. It's no big deal. But yeah.
Like, sure, I'll give you my ID.
Shit. Somebody's blowing up Harrison gifted 20 memberships. I love it. Oh man, some good people got memberships too. So Ryan is a power user, I would call him. So he got one. Let me see. Legal Fiction got one. We've already seen Legal Fiction talking tonight. So that's awesome. You guys make sure you thank Harrison.
It's a lot of people.
Any of the money that goes into the show, guys, or that you send to us, I don't have a Rolls Royce out in the parking lot, I promise you. It goes right into the show. One of the things that we put the money into is premium, YouTube premium and stuff like that. So when we show YouTube videos, you don't have to sit there and watch ads. So that's one of the things we put it into. All of this, the Restream, this thing that we're using so you guys can see this on all these different platforms. The money goes into that. I promise you, we're not getting rich off of this. So anytime you can put your hard-earned money into what we're doing, you are supporting this, so we can do this once a week, every Sunday. We kind of upped our Bridget. You thought we may have started an hour later than we normally do, but we kind of switched our time. We have way more viewers at this time of night, an hour earlier than normal, so we switched our Sundays.
Well, I'm a early bed person, so
it worked.
It's like it was perfect. Like,
good.
Yeah. So this is perfect. Start at 7. I'm in. Yeah, we could start. I'd rather let's do it at 8 a.m. It'd be great. Just kidding. I can't do it at 8 a.m. I have too many kids.
And to Freeman's point, and I don't disagree with what he's saying, but most cops think that if they get a call, they get ID, and we know that is not true. So,
well, it's not, but depending.
It's
not 100%, but certainly a lot.
But there's quite a few videos we share on here that it's just cops like, I got a call over here of a suspicious person. Your job's to investigate to see if it is a suspicious person, and then you have a right to an ID, not well, I got a call, so I get your ID. That's not how that works. And then if I tell you no, now you arrest me.
Earlier we talked about training, as I think that way too many times, and I can think of calls I went on where I definitely think like I would have appreciated having either a senior cop or a sergeant to say, hey, this is actually what you should have done. I got very little of that. I was just very proactive on, I don't want to F up, mom. I'm not cussing. Your mom might not even be on anymore, but I'm not cussing because your mom was on. I just was so like, I would rather err on, let me ask, but I don't know if that's also a gender thing, but that's certainly what I don't think I'm the normal chick, but sometimes I realize I'm still a chick. I certainly would have said, hey, and also knowing that the job, like sometimes you just have to make a decision and go with it. Like you can't always, especially where I worked and if I didn't have backup close, but, or if my sergeant couldn't answer. But to say that, I think that really understanding, like just becoming a cop is not like, it's not, okay, I brushed my teeth one day and I don't have to do it. I don't ever have to do it again. It's not that. And so, I just think people don't realize it's that and don't look at it as that. And like, you just can never stop. It's like, do you think Tom Brady was the best quarterback because he was one of the best quarterbacks because he always went back and studied and learned and studied and learned and studied.
Because he played for Michigan too. So,
well, I'm not sure about that, but yeah. Also, he had a really bad haircut back then. He had a butt
Go blue.
cut, so that did not help. Go Gators, but we're not good right now. We'll get there. The Gators, the Florida Gators.
I never heard of her.
They used to be good.
Yeah,
probably before your time. Anyway, but I just do think that it just never ends. You can just and if anybody who goes into any job or anything thinking, I got this, I'm good, you're not. And that's a dangerous place to be, particularly in this job. So I just, I just always just go to the class, ask somebody that you trust at the job or somebody senior to you, hey, this is this thing that I did. What do you think? How could I have done this better? But I know that's hard for people to do. But it's not, it's very important in this particular field.
Yeah. Yeah. Looking over at the comments right now. I am boss. I don't know that they do it because they have immunity. I think they do it because so many just give up their rights. They're used to it. I'm not sure what we're talking about there, but guys, we're close to wrapping up. Bridgette, if you've got anything that you want to share or anything for people to get a hold of you and find you if they need to use you, let us know.
I mean, I specialize in helping cops and first responders when they're having problems at work. I quit. Just if you want to know who I am, look up Lady Law Shield. I have a website. I'm on Instagram, LinkedIn, but you can find all that on my website, ladylawshield.com. So certainly love to help out cops in any way that I can at first responders, dispatch, corrections, all first responders. But certainly also very passionate about making sure that all first responders are the best that they can be. And sometimes that's in helping point out the things that go wrong. So love these conversations with Erik and everything that Erik puts out for all those reasons and all the conversations that you guys have on this platform. So it's very important. It's what our country is based on. And I'm a total geek that way. So
I love it. I want to give a shout out to Ario. Said, you dropped $10 in the super chat. Thank you so much for that. He said, using AI was able to my city's public speaking guidelines change. Able to get my city's public speaking guidelines changed because their policy was we couldn't talk bad, rude, or disrespectful to the council members. I am not sure what that means.
Well, if I could guess, like I do a lot with city councils and county commissioners, and they like to sometimes say, you can't talk to me that way. And we have the same freedom of speech.
Yeah, that makes sense. I'm like, council? What does that mean?
Yeah, I think we have the same freedom of speech rights in a city council meeting or county meeting as you do as citizens have against cops. So I think that might be what that is. And I encourage, that's great. I think, government has a lot of transparency in it for a reason, and you should make sure that that is working that way. And then again, but that works for the first responders too. I mean, there's transparency in how they're treating the first responders. I feel like a lot of this conversation is around what, and we could stop soon because we do need to stop, but like it's around what cops do or do not do correctly. But there's a whole lot to talk about in how and what agencies do not do correctly. And I mean, that's a whole, I could talk about it for 8 hours.
We've shared quite a few videos on here where the council members are trying to restrict free speech. And what do they end up doing? They use the cops as a pawn, and the cops don't quite know any better because they're getting put between a rock and a hard place because they're beholden to the city council because that's their employer in a way. And then end of the day, lean on the Constitution, y'all. You can't go wrong. It's going to back you up. You may get in trouble initially. And here's the argument that I would make. If you tell other people, fight it in court, not to argue with you on the side of the road, do the same thing as a cop. If you know that you're protecting somebody's freedom of speech, step up, do the right thing, and fight it in court. You're going to tell citizens to do it. Fucking you better do it too.
Also, I'll say when you say fight it in court, I would say that you have a lot of rights that you have available to you that come way before actually going to court. So you don't have to pay like all this litigation stuff. There's like all these different things. So find somebody who can help you, which includes somebody like me.
There we go. Hell yeah. We'll make you the official retainer for Two Cops One Donut.
Hey, anytime, Erik. Just let's talk about it.
Hopefully, I don't need you.
No, I hope you never need me. I tell people that all the time. I hope you never need me, but inevitably, it's not you, but in the context of the first responder work. And fortunately, it's not a matter of if you have a legal issue. It's just a matter of when, and it's just what you do about it. Unfortunately,
I want to give a shout out to everybody that chimed in on the chat today. You guys always make it more fun. Our activity on our chat is crazy anymore. We just can't keep up with all the comments, so it's fun. Our mods did a great job. I am boss said I had a blast, guys. I look forward to others to come. It's 10:30 here. Got to be up at 0300. Appreciate you. I know you're one of the newer ones to the channel.
Two cops, one lawyer.
Yeah, Freeman. Yeah, Two Cops, One Lawyer. I like it. Free. Nice seeing you, Ryan. All you guys that have been consistent. Ario dropping the $10. Ario's been a consistent person on here. You know, I recognize you guys. Timothy Plumley. He didn't talk a whole lot tonight. He does give us a lot of shit when he's in a mood, but I like him. He keeps me on my toes for sure. And he was out there today. I saw him chatting. And Driz is a new one. Again, Harrison, thanks for the memberships, dropping $20 in the membership for or I'm sorry, 20 memberships. I don't know if that was $20. I don't know how much it cost. YouTube made the prices. I didn't. So whatever it is. But everybody on Instagram that did join us, just know that I don't chat on Instagram that much. I have a 57-inch widescreen over here. So I can see you right now. I'm looking at you, even though it doesn't look like it in the camera. And then I have in the middle of the screen is the video that we're watching. If we show a video, and then way over here on the other side is Instagram Live. So I don't, for whatever reason, won't integrate the chat on here yet. So I don't see your guys' chat much on Instagram. So jump over to YouTube. That's the best bet you can have. If you want to have a great interaction with us, jump over to our YouTube. That's where we push everybody. My mom said, great show tonight. Thank you, Bridgette, for blessing us with your presence and knowledge.
Oh, thanks, Mom.
Hope to see you again soon. Yeah, Bridgette, you know you're always welcome on here. Just reach out, let me know.
I will say, somebody asked, do I help somebody in some other state? I'm licensed in 4 states. I've taken 4 bar exams. I don't advise that for anyone. But I do advise and help clients in every state across the country. So if somebody needs my help and advice and it's in my area, please call, because really, just like Erik, he wants to help. Like, I do this on purpose for a reason, because I want to help everybody stay happy and go home to be with their family. So, because when you have legal problems, it's going to affect your whole family and you significantly, and I just want to help. So certainly help everybody across the country.
Hell yeah. Well, guys, it was a great episode. I'm going to end this. Thank you for joining us tonight. And for those that just like to listen to the podcast, or you want to watch it later, you can watch it later on YouTube. And I will have the audio up hopefully by tomorrow on Spotify, Apple, and all the other listening
It's
streams.
because Erik also doesn't sleep at I Am Boss. You should get more sleep, my friend. But I'm happy you were here.
Yeah, it's the ADHD. It just doesn't let me sleep. And when I sleep, I don't have to sleep that long. So just embrace it. Make it your superpower. That's what I do. All right, guys. Everybody have a good night. And Bridgette, stick around.